Okay, just an early morning rant. I know there probably won't be shit for nobody in here. I really don't care one way or the other. Because it'll post up as a video when it's all said and done, anyhow. Okay, so I'll go with it that way. I wouldn't mind being able to jump onto one of Steve's live streams, but Steve has a habit of doing them in the middle of the night. He does them so late that if I was to sit up like Steve does, I throw my med schedule, okay, completely out of whack, okay. I spent almost 5 years with chest pain almost every other day, regularly. And recently, this new heart doctor has done some changing and upping of certain medicines like the all day nitroglycerin. And I've gotten rid of the chest pain. But if I don't keep my schedule, I have to take my drugs twice a day. And if I don't keep my schedule, it gets me into shit. Okay, so and I've discovered that already. So Steve does them so late at night that I can't. I mean, once a week, just to do the TFL Saturday night thing, I throw my schedule off and I go to bed at 1:32 a.m. my time, and I'm back up by 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Yes, I am. Because see, I have to get something in my stomach before I can take my meds, and I keep my meds at the same schedule I've had it on for 5 years, and it throws me completely out of whack. So I can't sit up all night every night like Steve Hoka or Hayden or other people. So Steve, I wished would drop his time down a little bit to give me a chance to be in there, but he don't, so I won't be in there. That's how that works. Okay, just so you know. I won't be on Steve's live streams or seeing Steve's live streams because Steve loves to do it when there's no way I can do it every night. He doesn't have the issues I have or the meds I have to keep the schedule I have, so there's not much I can do with that, okay? I throw myself out of whack once a week. I suffer for it all day the next day, but I do it because I want to do it for other people. But I'm sure not going to throw myself out of whack day after day in the middle of the week and suffer for it every day, every day, every day. And that's what I'd have to do to join Steve's live streams. Okay, now let's go on to some other topics. Okay, let's go on to topics like, oh, well, we're overpopulated. Yeah, I figured I should talk about that a little bit. Okay, there's they have to hold back on jobs. The people ain't going to school because they don't got enough. All the jobs are oversaturated because we're overpopulated. No, that's not the reason at all. That's not the reason at all. See, this has been deliberately done. This has been long-term plan. Because, oh, here he goes with that conspiracy theory stuff again. Well, then I suppose it was a conspiracy theory that back along 2008, 2009, lots and lots and lots of companies in America closed up shop and moved overseas. No, that must not have happened. No, that couldn't have happened. Things like that wouldn't happen in America. That's right. I mean, we go to the stores and we know that all the products made at your stores are made in America. Well, what do you mean they're not made in America? It's made in China. Made in China. Yeah. Uh huh. Hint, hint. It's in your face. Your jobs have been outsourced. America don't make very much of America's products no more. At one time, America made 100% of America's products. And if that was still going on, you wouldn't see the job market being saturated. Okay? It's as simple as that. It's in your face. But, I can't blame people that are of younger age because they wouldn't know this stuff. And if they didn't really do their homework, they wouldn't know it. They wouldn't realize it. They wouldn't recognize it, okay? That all of this has been created for us, okay? And so with what's going on, yes, they're deliberately crashing our society, but not just ours. They're crashing them on a global scale, you know? You could take your mind off it. I don't mind, okay? But I'm not going to fall into the fluff and stuff and think that when this is all said and done, oh, we're all going to be hunky dory, because no, we're not. Many, many bars, okay, many, many restaurants, coffee shops, gyms, that's right, okay, many places that got their doors closed to this won't make it back. No, because the owners of this place, this was their livelihood. Their livelihood isn't going to stay. They're not going to be able to bounce back from this. Their savings will become dwindled just living. They're not bouncing back from this. What's going on is to crash societies globally in your face. And while it's happening in your face, people choose to not pay attention. And what people are paying attention are mostly just listening to mainstream propaganda, alternative propaganda. The only difference between mainstream and alternative is alternative will mix more truth into the propaganda. That's the only difference. Okay, and then of course, when you really dig deep into what's going on and open your eyes and pay attention, then you'd understand a little bit more. Okay, it's like I guess one of the biggest things I get a kick out of in a way, and I sort of laugh. People can't understand why. In the manosphere only, it seems to be that way. Okay, I'm telling you, it seems to be mostly manosphere related. Okay, how come Bill would think that women like sex as much as men? I don't know. Understand where Bill would ever come up with that from. Well, I'll bet you wouldn't. Because the sad thing about the manosphere is so many men have never ever really had a committed or meaningful relationship or lived with a woman in their own home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for year after year after year that are in the manosphere. That's correct. They're TFL. They're lucky to get laid. Okay? Their focus is about getting laid, which comes naturally in a relationship. Their focus is about social engineering in the manosphere. Yes, it is. It's about going along with social engineering and using the excuse that that's just the way it is today to justify using the very tools that keep you alone, using the very tools that destroy relationships. That's right. That's the truth. I don't care if you don't want to hear it or not. That's why I said this is a rant. Okay? I just don't care if you want to hear it or not. That's the factual truth. And what I find even more funny is I lived TFL the first 28 years of my life. After that, I had not lived TFL. After that, I had a lot of years with my son's mother. We did a lot of things. Okay? And we had a party way back in the day. Yes, we did. Okay? It was one of them put your thing in the hoe parties. And we was around other married couples. I was around quite a few married women, and I was even around married couples before I had anybody in my life. And after living my life, after being with, and being on the other end that most TFLers aren't, it was in your face. It was openly in your face. You couldn't get around it if you tried. Women love sex every bit as much as men. And I got guys that has not lived because they haven't lived with a woman because they're TFL, okay, who haven't experienced this, telling me how it is. So I suppose, in my case, then I suppose that I don't need to have a career to be able to be just as good as the guy that went to school for it. I mean, I could tell Steve Hoka how it is in his trade, right? I'm just saying, I'm not being an ass. I'm just saying, just by the very same philosophy, I could tell Steve Hoka and argue with him about his trade that he obviously knows more about than I do. And I would look like a complete fool. Do you understand that? Okay? But this is how it is when I say women like sex as much as men, to men who have no experience that want to believe they have experience. Because you had a one night stander and stuck your penis in a hole doesn't qualify you to know what you're talking about. You have to live the experience. And then you got the other saying, they'll come back and they'll say, well, but our moms and our dads always told us, huh, really? So your mothers and dads told you about their intimacy in the bedroom, huh? They told you about how many people they've been with and their experiences in the bedroom and all of this stuff. I mean, they told you their intimate stuff. Not. They tell you bits and pieces of what they want to know. It's very personal. Well, but biology. Oh, here we go again. Biology. Yeah, here we go again. So, you mean what your government taught you? You mean what your social engineering machine taught you? Well, no, biology isn't because it's backed by scientists who are paid by who? Uh, yeah. See, you just don't get it. This shit's been going on for many, many years before I was even born. And you think they didn't think about all these areas, huh? You somehow got this mirage going on in your head that you're more intelligent than the people back in the day. No, you're more of an idiot than people back in the day. Being dumb isn't intelligence. Okay? End of story. We're all born naive. Our life experiences come from living your life. See, and the sad thing is I have guys that's never really, and it's not their fault. I'm not blaming them. But this is why I said this thing only happens in the manosphere. Seriously, it only happens in the manosphere. If you talk to regular Joes all over the street that have had wives and women in their lives, they're all going to tell you the same thing. The majority of all of them will. You're damn right women love sex every bit as much as men. They'll all say it. The only spot I ever hear being said ass backwards, non-truth in, is the manosphere. I understand it though. How would you know? You wouldn't. You couldn't. Because you haven't had a woman in your life and hung around married couples with your own woman. That's right. You haven't lived enough of your life with a woman in your life and be with your woman and be in places and other women that are blah, blah, blah to understand. Once you're in that situation, suddenly you'll start seeing things and you hear things and women, blah, blah. And then here's another good one for you. Okay, I love it. I love it. The dildo sales. Okay, so if there's no truth to what I'm saying, well, then I suppose it's all of you men buying up them dildos, huh? I mean, it must be, right? It must be that men buy the dildos because women don't like sex as much as men. So we know that men are buying all the dildos because they'd rather use it than their own penis. Okay, no, that sounds completely nuts, right? I agree. But then you'll get the other, they'll say, well, they don't sell very many. Also, you have them financial records to market for dildos, huh? You mean they manufactured that many different styles by that many because there wasn't a market for it? Bullshit. Damn right there's a market for it. As a matter of fact, just about every married couple I've met, the woman owns her own dildo. Why would that be? Yeah. Oh, she had it before she got with the guy she was with, too. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's when she got that. Oh, that's right, because she was never used. She would just buy it for decoration to put on the shelf. Not. I'm sorry. But, when you tell me, well, I don't understand, and I know you're wrong. I know you're wrong because women do not like sex as much as men because it's been proven. Really? So you mean it's been proven by who? Come on, bring the evidence to the table, will you? No, the words falling out your mouth isn't evidence. I've lived it, seen it, and experienced it. That's the words falling out your mouth isn't evidence. Okay? Because if that was the case, well, go get all these guys that's had lots of women in their life and lived with women, and we'll ask them the same question, and you're going to start finding guy after guy after guy saying the same thing I'm saying. You that's not right. Oh no, that couldn't be. That couldn't be. Yes, it could be. This is how social engineering works: is to get you to believe something that's absolutely not true with all of your heart. That's what social engineering is about. And it doesn't matter which form of social engineering it comes from. It's to get you to believe in a lie and fight for that lie. Because you're not going to change your belief even if you're totally wrong. Because you know you couldn't be wrong even if you are. Well, that's part's true. Women no longer, well, they haven't. How would they? We have so many things that's gone into division between men and women. And we'll just start with a small list. 30 plus years of male shaming in the media, everything being marketed to the woman, okay? All the double standards, uh-huh. All of the freaking, not just the double standards, but the simping and white knighting and covering up for a woman's wrongs in the justice system and in real life. Placing the female up on a pedestal, pampering her, babying her, covering her. Then we have gender roles that says that the guy has to do this and this. The woman absolutely has to do nothing but just dress up and look good and go on out there. She don't even got to do that anymore, neither does she. Okay? She spends her whole life being hit on, has all the choice there ever was. Okay, we all know about this stuff already, right? Right. But it doesn't change the fact that when you use social engineering, because that's just the way it is, as Your cop out to not recognize it for what it is and to not have to take any responsibility in changing your own behaviors, then you cannot complain about the way it is because you're going along with the way it is because you use the tools that keep it this way. That has created the problem. You use the very tools that created the problem and keep you alone, and then you complain about the results. I don't know what to tell you. That's what's going on. That is the real truth. See, human beings ain't commodities. Well, in today's society, and I don't care what you say about today's society, let me look around myself. I want to get in my spaceship and get the fuck off this insane society. I don't want to be in a nut house. I know why they shut down the nut houses because they don't need them no more. We have a worldwide nut house. Yeah, you call it civilization. See, you don't need a nut house no more because it's open nut house everywhere, all around you, everywhere you go. People that's never experienced something or lived something or because of something that's not their fault, arguing with somebody who's actually got a chance to live it and witness and see it and know it for fact, and telling them what they lived, witnessed, and seen and knew for fact, and then make up all these cop outs that, oh, well, that's only a small percent of the population. Well, let me tell you something. Where do you get your numbers from? I don't care what numbers you throw at me. Where do you get them from? Well, you pulled them up online. Or this person said, or that book did. That's right. And do you actually believe them numbers? Come on. Can you prove them numbers to be accurate? Come on. Can you actually, God honestly prove them to be accurate? They've been lying to us about just almost everything. And you think them numbers are going to be accurate, huh? I just got to put that out there because it's the truth. You can't confirm them numbers. You can't even back them no more than I can. Well, I trust it. Go ahead, trust the lie. You've been doing that all along. Trust the very people that lie to you about almost every single thing in your life. I won't because I see the deception. I see it plain and clear because I've lived my life and actually had somebody in my life for a lot of years. Yeah, I know better. And I know when I tell you that women love sex every bit as much as men, it's factual. Here's the real truth. Out of all the so-called horny scrotum sex, as Steve would say, okay, not all are that. No. There's actually a percentage of men, and it's probably a lot more men than you're giving it credit for, that don't give a fuck about sex. Okay? And you have the same, no, we have the same thing going on with the women. Okay? It's not that they wouldn't want a baby, but that's not their driving motivation. Their hormones are very, very low on that. And not that they don't have them, but they're very low hormone. And so they're not sexually driven whatsoever. And this is amongst men and women both. And there's actually quite a few more people that way than you would even give credit for. And I can't put a number on it, and I wouldn't call a number on it because I couldn't back it, and neither could you. I don't care what you say about it, you wouldn't be able to prove it or back it. So there's no point of arguing about it. But it's fact. Okay? It is fact. It's real. It's called reality. It's called individuality. It's called there are differences in the body, and some people have less hormones and drive than other people. Other people have more hormonal drive than others. And then with them tampering with our foods and stuff and adding hormones and stuff to the and chemistry and to the big farm and the foods and everything we're doing, and pushing pornography in your face that used to not be around. Sex was always hidden. It was private talk. How many of you actually believe your parents is going to tell you about their intimacy, their times? And how many of you think your parents didn't grow up in the same social engineering you did? Just you got a more intense version of it than your parents did. So the knowledge you get from your parents most of the time comes from the same place that you got your knowledge, the social engineering machine. Real life experiences cannot be replaced, and they tell the truth. They sure do. So let's see, we have the dildo sales, we have the lingerie sales, we have prostitution. Oh well, we can't use. Oh yes, you can use that, unless you're telling me prostitution are not human beings. These are not human beings that ever lived their life at all. Don't you understand? It's all been set up. It's all been socially engineered, and this goes back forever and ever and ever. The overpopulation thing is a complete farce, it's a complete lie. The workplace is being saturated, and there's no positions that first was talking about, I agree with, but it's not because of overpopulation. No. It's because we spent all kinds of time outsourcing our jobs. Take a look at all the products that are made in America that was made in China. That was made in China. Okay? Sometimes they're made somewhere else overseas, but most of the time you'll see China on the back of that, okay? Sometimes you'll see Japan or what have you, but most of the time it'll be China. So let's look at the reality about all the products that are being made over in China and shipped to America. You know, GE, just one of them. GE. So here's GE. You know, they made refrigerators and stoves and microwaves and on, right? Well, guess what? Oh, what do you mean our GE products are still in America? Well, of course they are. They packed up, closed shop, put all of the people in America out of a job, went overseas where they could get slave labor, and reopened up and sold their products back to the American people who were stupid enough to buy them and put them in our stores. So we rewarded them for taking our jobs away from us. We sure did by buying their products in our country. That's what we done. And the list of jobs that's moved overseas goes on and on and on. There's a whole bunch of companies you have no idea about that you was never told about because it wasn't reported, who closed their doors and went overseas. Look around you, from our foods to the products that we buy that are being made and built. The majority comes from overseas. That's why the job market's oversaturated, guys. Just like the shortage of food, there is none. It's being created. But you can turn your back to these things all you want. I don't care. It doesn't make, you can lie about it, but it doesn't make your lie truth. It means your lie is a lie. I don't care, it's like when you say in the dating scene, in the dating market, in the sexual value market, in the 1 to 10, yeah, all tools used to destroy, and that's exactly what it does. But it is a lot easier, I guess, to go along with than it is to recognize the wrong and correct your own self. Because it does take self work on oneself to change anything about oneself. And that most people aren't willing to do. Most men and women alike are just not willing to do it. All of them, the first thing out of their mouth is nothing's wrong with me. I won't examine my own behavior at all because I know there's nothing wrong with me. And then you just go right along with your social engineering machine and use the very tools that they've given you and then complain about being alone. Complain about the way we treat each other. while you use the very tools that cause you to do this to each other. What can I say? You don't need enemies. You're all your own worst enemies. Men and women alike. You really don't need enemies. You're your own worst enemy. But I do get a kick out of listening to people that scream at me and how wrong I am about women liking sex as much as men that haven't lived their life to know what I'm talking about because they haven't witnessed it, seen it, because they haven't had the privilege of living in a relationship and going everywhere and doing everything with this woman and hanging out with other married couples and just living their life and talking about these things and discovering something you never knew, that women do like sex as much as men. See, at one time, women got run out of the country, or not out of the country, but run out of the community. Many, many years back, if a woman was promiscuous and running around having sex, she got run out. Okay? But men, on the other hand, they were always promiscuous themselves and running around having sex. And this was the beginning of the division. You run women out and allowed men to get by with it. Okay? Which was wrong. It's straight up wrong. This is a complaint females had many, many, many years ago before feminism. Okay? There was an accurate complaint. I mean, the reality is we're all human beings, we're all men and women, and we all have pretty much we have chemistry differences, we have body part differences, but we do not have 99.9% of the differences reported to you between men and women. If we had all the differences reported through biology and your media to you, your school system and crap, between the genders, okay, you wouldn't be getting no woman pregnant, okay? No, you wouldn't. If that you don't believe me, then I want you to go fuck a chimpanzee. Because you should have no problem getting that chimpanzee pregnant. What do you mean you can't get it pregnant? Well, there's just no excuse why you couldn't. Well, but there's differences. Would you think? That's what that'd come down to, yep. Oh, you think there would be differences, huh? But you can't get it through humans' heads in today's society, man. You can't get them to see reality. Both genders are is equally messed up. Okay? Now, through the manipulation of our chemistry through GMO foods, chemtrails, big pharma, and on, okay? I do believe that sex drives in some people could be reduced. Because after all, they've been looking for ways to control the population, to control the birth rate for a long time. And once again, in that situation, it's man created. It's not natural. In the natural state, women do love sex every bit as much as men. And that part is no lie. Turn your woman down for sex once and see how that comes out for you guys. Go ahead. Don't give her sex for a couple weeks and let her ask you for sex and turn her down and see how that works out for you guys. Oh, yeah, but see, guys like sex every day and women don't. No, women tendency don't like sex during the rags. Some guys do, though. Most women don't. They don't want sex during the rag. Some women will, but not very many. And I don't fancy going down there with a woman, and doing this during the rag. Okay? But do some women want sex as much as men? Yes, they do. You know, there's women who have sex every other day with their guy, and some women every day. No lie. Through their young years when their hormones are raging, you're damn right they do. Well, they get to the 30s and most women will start relaxing a little bit, but some won't. Depends on how bad their sex drive is. Change of life can alter it forever for a woman. The guy won't go through a change of life. So we have differences in that area, man. But in the overall general, women do, okay, like sex as much as men, especially when they're young. It's always been that way. That is the real truth. But in the manosphere, they don't want to believe that. They want to believe that, no, that's not true at all. And, you know, how do you argue with a bunch of guys that's never actually lived with a woman for any long years and lived it in the situations I've been in to see and know the real truth? They have no way of judging that to know that because they haven't been lucky enough to be in that situation. And I can't blame them for that. I just don't argue with them about stuff that's nonsense. That's complete nonsense, okay? And that's what that is. And I hate to be that way, but it's the truth. It's just like me accepting the fact that we have a sexual value in the market, our sexual market. Me accepting that fact, I'll never do it in a million years because it's social engineering, and this is the reason you have so much trouble in the dating scene and you're not getting nobody. Women and men alike are used in the very things that is to their own demise. No discrimination on this part. Men are almost just as guilty as women, but not all the way because, see, I remember I told you I held up a pen and I said social engineering. One side was for women, one side was for men. Women are programmed to self-destruct and destroy everything in their path. They do a damn good job at it too, don't they? Yes. And men are programmed to what? Well, to cause their own self-demise. It's almost the same thing as self-destruct. I'm not right now, okay? I'm in the middle of live stream. The Walgreens is calling me, so they'll just have told off. But anyhow, so I come up here early in the morning because I don't give a shit about the numbers. But I did want to say, I wouldn't mind being in on Steve's live streams. I'm curious to first would actually talk to me because the guy seems to dislike me. I don't know the guy, but he's disliked me for not knowing me. So I'm like, okay. So you dislike somebody you don't know. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You know, and I can't back up the stuff Harry's told me, but I do believe Harry was telling me the truth when he was around because he was too adamant on it. But I have no knowledge to back it up. I just listen and watch and pay attention. Listen and watch and pay attention. That's all I can do. Okay, but I can't be anticipating Steve's shows with my med schedule the way Steve does it because Steve wants to sit up all night, and I can't do that. Okay, and because I can't do that because of my med schedule, I guess I'll never be in one of Steve's live streams. But maybe Steve's doing that because he really don't want me in his shows. I can't say for sure, you know. But it don't matter one way or the other because, I don't have to do the Saturday night thing neither. I mean, if I fight to get people in and my numbers keep going down, then I don't care. And you all want to go to his show, I'll let you. He can have it all, and I'll just stay right here and do my own thing. How's that? Because you're all getting ready to face something you're not awake to see, huh? You're gonna get to find out that this corona thing is a complete fraud, but there's an agenda behind it. I don't know how far they're gonna carry it this time, but this is NWO all the way. I see them scaring the kajivas out of you, and I think they're getting ready to ramp it up. Trump said something yesterday that sent up a red flag to me in his live speech that he does daily. He said something that actually throws up red flags, okay? You want to know what that was? It's simple. These next couple weeks are going to be really, really tough. But don't worry, we'll get through it. Yep. He repeated it too. These next couple of weeks are going to be really, really hard. That's right. That's a red flag. in my book. Okay? We've had Corona going around for more than 2 weeks. Now he's telling you the next couple of weeks. Remember, he said over Easter he wanted to have it open back up. He canceled that out and says now the end of April. When you want to bet when the end of April gets here, it gets canceled out and it's down to the end of May. Or the middle of May. And then before the middle of May gets here, oh no. But you know, the red flag is right there. First off, this is all an exercise. There ain't nobody dying. The numbers are lies. Two, the exercise has been rehearsed. It has its own name for it. And there's a lot of truth that was put in a video that I've been watching, that I watched from Jason Goodman yesterday. You remember the voice said that the elite would tell us what they were going to do, and then they would do it. We would do nothing about it. This has been known forever. Okay? Well, I do believe we have been told by an employee of the establishment who has been told to tell us and had his interview what they're doing, what the exercise is with Corona, why they're doing what they're doing, what their goal is, what they're after. Okay, they're after two things: total control, your enslavement. Okay, it's the complete enslavement to turn every single nation across the world into the same society as China. Well, to do that, your Bill of Rights and your Constitution is gone, non-void. Burn them. Okay, that's the end goal. Is to turn every nation around the world into China. That is the role model. That means you got to crash America completely, crash and burn people, scare the living crap out of you so bad that you willingly give up your rights. And they started it off softcore. Don't worry, they're going to amp it up. Watch and see. And Trump's words was a red flag to me. Because out of nowhere, we're going to win this war. We're fighting this war. The next couple of weeks are going to be really rough. They're going to be tough. It's going to be hard, but we'll make it through it. Okay, I'm sorry. But where did that come from? Ah, that was him giving you a warning that things are about to get ramped up. That's what that was. So now we have to keep our eyes open for what's going to happen. Something's coming. Now, Monty Graff suggested something about NWO in Ohio, and he hasn't put it together yet. But he thinks something's going to happen in the state of Ohio. And I don't know. I'm going to watch and see. And you say, why would I listen to Monty Graff? Because I wouldn't listen to Jason Goodman either, right? But see, the thing is if you understand who the employees establishment are, you listen to a little bit from all of them during something like this because the elite are going to tell you what they're doing. They've always said they would, and they do. Okay? And one of the best videos that I've seen that tells a whole lot of real truth, and I know it does, I know it to be factual, was posted by Jason Goodman. And it was an interview where they actually told you what was going on, why, what Corona really is, why it's here. Okay? The whole 9 yards. They put it right in your face. They actually put the real truth right in your face. And it is what it is. And I know this is the truth. I know that there's probably a couple of lies in here. I don't believe that the vaccination shot's going to be what they're going to use for population reduction because I think if people started taking shots and dropping dead everywhere, there'd be an uprise. Okay? So I don't necessarily buy into that, but the story itself and stuff it's all backable. Okay? The majority of it's all backable. It's factual truth. So I know it to be the truth. And because of my years of research It is the truth. And the only way that's going to change is if we have enough of an uprise to make people back off. And I don't see that happening. That's exactly right. They all give you a piece of the puzzle. Thank you. I appreciate that because that's the truth. And in a time like this, if you want to really find out what's going on outside of your own digging, you go to all these different freaking employees of the establishment, and you listen for a little bit, and you go back and forth. You'll start picking it up, and then you look into it. If you don't know it already, you look into it, and you find, oh my God, that's true. And you start connecting the dots, as David Icke would tell you, connect the dots. See, he don't lie when he says that, connect the dots. And I've done a whole bunch of homework on this situation already, man, and I'm telling you, I have. And because of all the other homework I've done over the years and my life experience, and I'm able to see through this BS, I see that we're in a whole lot of trouble, is what I see. For all you people who think this is just going to blow over and there ain't going to be consequences, well, you're about to find out there's going to be consequences. It sure is. You know, I would suggest to say that in the end, you always have a curfew and you'll have to be in at a certain time without permission. Even when it's all over and said and done. That's right. I would suggest that your all night bars and clubs probably be gone. Unless you get super lucky, they will be gone. They won't be here no more, guys. I would suggest that you're probably going to have cashless society, military on your streets, and your bars and nightclubs will probably not reopen. Your grocery stores, your 24-hour-a-day stores will no longer be 24-hour-a-day ever again. This is about your enslavement. This is about your control. To control you and to enslave you and get you willing to accept it is what this is about. And if you don't believe that's what that's about, you're going to find it out the hard way. And then, of course, population reduction. I wouldn't trust any vaccination, though, that come out from Bill and Melinda Gates. This part I do agree with Monty on. And the corona test itself, I got a feeling you're going to find that being mailed to people and everybody's going to be required by law to do the test. Nope, won't do it. Just ain't going to happen, man. I would agree with Monty on that too. It's for the DNA database. Now there is a suggestion that they've contaminated the test with a virus, which is probably influenza, so that if you do the test and send it back, you send it back, and now they got your DNA, and you get sick. That's right, and you actually get sick. And they use that to blame us for not listening to them and staying in. And then they turn around and declare martial law. And I know there's people saying, oh, he's never going to put a declaration of martial law in. It ain't over with, is it yet? No. And it ain't over with till the numbers stop going up, is it? When you can see them stop reporting and they're saying, oh, there's no more cases. Ups, there's no more cases. Whoops, there's no more cases, guys. It appears the numbers are going down now. Up, the numbers are going down. But you see that happen? It ain't over. And I haven't seen any sign of that, man. Every day it's more deaths, more cases, more deaths, more cases every day. And as long as it's more deaths and more cases, this ain't going away. No, it isn't. I say it is to scare the living shit out of us, and I'm concerned about what else could happen. There's been some predictions, I would say, some people suggesting certain things could happen in this month and next month. And I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to say, I'm going to watch and see. We could talk about it if it actually something really happens that way. But Trump did throw something out here at us yesterday that was a red flag. Whether you recognize it or not, it was a red flag because Trump openly said it. Remember, every time he's come on so far, it's been, we're going to win this war, we're going to blah, 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 blah. All the good things that's been going on, and we're going to beat this invisible thing, okay? When yesterday he turned that into the next couple weeks is going to be really rough. It's going to be really hard. But we'll make it through it because we're resilient, tough people. And if you don't pay attention to that type of talk, this means he's in the knowledge of something that's getting ready to happen. Well, I'll bet domestic violence is increasing rapidly. But after all, we don't know how to get along. Isn't that true? Isn't it true that after all, people don't know how to get along? They don't know how to communicate because their communication skills and their skills to treat each other properly have been completely destroyed with social engineering? That's correct. What do one of the reasons TFL keeps getting bigger is because of this very same thing right here, is our ability to treat each other properly. That's just one of the reasons. Men in a lot of cases are just as guilty for their own demise because they use all the very social engineering tools that were meant to destroy. They use them regularly and say that's just the way it is. Okay, so therefore what they're doing is they're making the problem spread, they're making the problem worse, and they're keeping themselves alone and don't even know they are. They can't even see it. They're just blind to it, I guess. And until they can see it and take the hard work it takes to change their own behavior, you could never correct it. So I don't get into I'm not gonna get into it with anybody. I'm not gonna argue with Steve. I'm not gonna argue with fucking anybody. I'm not gonna argue with First. Well, First wouldn't argue with me anyhow because he wouldn't even have a debate with me, so far from what I can tell. You know. From what I can tell, First for whatever reason don't like me. So okay, well he don't like somebody he never met in his life, never talked to in his life. He dislikes him, he hates him. Yep, that's social engineering finest right there. It sure is. Well, I don't like the way he blah blah blah. If he comes up with his excuses. So you don't like individuality, huh? Yeah, because there would be excuses. I mean, I would still associate and talk with the guy, and I would be on a live stream with Steve and him. I wouldn't have no issues with it. But from what I hear, he'd have an issue with it and don't really want me there. So, and there's you know, and there's right there a red flag in my eyes because the fact that he's behaviors of that of okay, well, he hasn't accepted the fact that we have individuality and that somehow somebody's supposed to be thinking with his brain. No, it don't work that way. This means you have a communication breakdown and you're not able to communicate properly with other people. And you wouldn't be able to keep too many friends because you'd destroy them. They wouldn't want to be around you no more because you'd be fighting over what somebody else thinks and telling them how to think and feel. But you wouldn't want that done to you, but you do it to somebody else, right? That's what that means. That was the social engineering machine that caused that. You're going right along with it. And it means, like I said, it's in every walk of life and everything we do. And social engineering, I'm waiting to see how far it goes when it comes to our manufacturers. How many of them they'll shut down. Okay? I really am. And I have to be that way because I'm watching to see how things really pan out with this. And, you know, I do believe we may have a power struggle going on up towards, with the elite. Okay? There's a chance that there's a power struggle going on, but I don't think so. And there might be. And if there is a power struggle with some of the people up at the top, maybe some of what they're trying to get done now won't happen. If people would act like people in Colorado did when the governor shut down the liquor stores and the marijuana shops and hit the streets and riot, and then the governor come back up 4 hours later and reversed it and left them open. If people would do that, we could stop a lot of what's going on. Oh no, you're not going to get sick. So many people want to believe this is real, that this is a real virus. No, this is a real false flag. This is a real exercise, just like a FEMA military exercise drill. Was an exercise. This was a rehearsal for that they took live, just like they did with the other false flags recently in America. But this one, it was taken live on a global scale with an agenda behind it to report deaths that ain't happening, to report something is completely fraudulent, and have all sources that you listen to involved in it so that you will believe it's 100% real. And in the end, you will become so scared that you're going to give up your liberties, your rights, your Constitution. And you're going to trade your liberty for security. And after that, of course, that's when wars start and people die, and you find out that you just traded your own security, your own freedom away to a bunch of criminals who now are going to cope and kill and enslave every last one of us. And then we are the new China. That's right. Our population, our civilization will be just like China. It sure will. You have a social credit score. And if your social credit score comes down, you're not allowed to travel. If it comes down a little more, you go to jail. That's right. And then if it gets too low, they'll execute you. They sure will. Everything you buy will be tracked. They'll know exactly what you buy, when you buy it. Oh, yeah. How much you paid for it, where you bought it at. Yep. There'll be no under the table transactions. No. You won't be trading anything for some illegal marijuana on the streets no more. No. Sure won't. See, it's going to flip everything upside down on its freaking head. They're all going to be controlled to the finest. You end up with a curfew as little children. All adults will be little children. They'll have curfews. They'll have to be in at said time, or they'll be facing prison time and big major fines that'll be enforced. Mm-hmm. Sure will. You're going to be like China. But it's on a global scale. All societies will be flipped over to be like China. That's what, this is what they're going to do. And what are you going to do about it? Come on. What are you going to do about it? I'll tell you what we're going to do about it. None of us are going to do absolutely nothing, right? Well, in canned food, I'm just noticing this. In canned food, if the lining is a white lining, if you open up a canned good, a canned pork and beans, a can of soup, and it has the white lining, which I've done before, throw that bitch right in the garbage. Don't even eat it. The white lining has a ton of estrogen in it that's released into the soup when it was put in the can when it was warm. And then you come along and buy it and reheat it, and you eat that soup lined with estrogen, and now you got more female estrogen in your body than you're supposed to have. So get rid of it. And then we have to watch it. Our canned foods are being processed foods. I mean, We've been being fed poison for a long time. This is where cancer comes from. Cancer's from a weak immune system. The original name of cancer, as I've said 1,000 times over, is scurvy. Okay, but you can't tell people these days. People just don't care. How will Corona affect the dating scene? Okay, so let's talk about how Corona, in my opinion, is going to affect the dating scene. The women are still going to keep their power trip because you ain't just getting rid of that overnight. No. Okay. But the women are going to find it a lot harder to go out and meet now because they're going to have a curfew and they're going to have to be in. And there's going to be less places to take them, especially when this is over said and done. It'll probably take a couple, 3 years just to get jobs back up and going again. You'll have a government-based income given to everybody because there'll be so many people out of work that won't be able to get a job. And it's sad that I've seen this stuff go on, but, and the same people who wrote the books that foretold about what's going on now in 1981, the same guy who wrote that book in 81, also wrote of the same bullshit, non existent virus returning in 2030, 10 years from now. And that there would be another more big changes, and we would never be the same again. Okay, just like we'll never be the same after this is over in 2030. This is when they're planning on really bringing all of NWO into play. And I think we're going to get about half of NWO this time and the other half then. So don't be surprised that happens, and I'll hopefully not be around for that one. Okay, and I'm sure I won't be. That's 10 years from now, and I don't think I got that long to be here personally. If I'm here in 10 years from now, I'll be surprised to even be here, okay? But I think we're about to see a lot tougher times, all of us. And so I'm going to say this. We're going to have to really realize what's going on and get angry if we want to stop any of this. So think about it this way. Do you want to live in a society that's like China's? China has more cameras than any other country in the nation watching their people. You thought United Kingdom had a lot of cameras? Not even. Can't even compare. China has more cameras than anybody. And when you heard about the smart TVs having a camera so they could listen inside people's homes, a mic and a camera, and you said that was a conspiracy theory, no, it wasn't. It's factual. It's part of building their NWO. You're to have no privacy. Think about the movie 1984 that everybody's talked about. In that movie, they portray men and women working in a factory. And when a man and woman likes each other, they're not allowed to. And they have to sneak out of public's eyesight and shit to just kiss, to have time alone. And when a camera catches them having time alone, they're picked up and thrown in jail. Their credit score goes down and they're punished. Now, this is George Orwellian's 1984. What, do you think it's going to be different for us? You really think it's going to be different for any people? After this is all said and done, no, it ain't. They showed you the type of society they want in your face. And they laugh at you because you think they will never happen. And meanwhile, if you look around you, it's happening right now. It really is. All we got to do is look at how we treat each other. All we got to do is look at the transsexual gay agenda. All we got to do is look at the reality of what's in our face. And when we do that, you start seeing, oh my God, we are going that direction. Of course you are. You're going exactly where these sick psychopaths at the top want us to go. And here we are doing their call and bidding. Every single government. That's right. Mainstream media, every single government, every form of law enforcement, the justice system worldwide is all in bed with this. They're all on board. I think a lot of them have been manipulated and don't even realize the end of this. They've been lied to and fallen for the lies and are doing it and going along with the end of their own selves, the end of their own freedoms. And they don't even see it coming. That's how I believe that, because I was thinking about this. I called the police department, I called the sheriff's department, and attempted to get a hold of the state criminal investigation unit, which most likely would be the feds, okay? And that took me to the Fusion Center, lo and behold. And so then I thought, okay, let me get the FBI, the feds. And guess in Iowa, okay? Guess where that took me? Right back to the Fusion Center again. So even when you had hardcore evidence that should be investigated, it's like 9/11. You can't get an investigation launched because the justice system is blocking you. Okay? So here we are with Tony Fauci, or whatever you want to call him, of, you know, disease control, standing up there with Trump every day. The very man who told you about this before Trump was in office. And we don't investigate him. So he was back up there with Trump yesterday. He was even speaking to everybody. And I just exited it. I didn't even finish watching it at that point. I didn't want to hear him because he belongs in jail. I have hardcore evidence on that man that nobody will look at. It's backable. It's proof. You can't get around it. Even in his own speech, Trump wasn't in office yet. He said it in the upcoming administration. See, Obama was still officially in office when he made this speech about in Trump's upcoming administration. Trump's administration will face this problem that we're all having. He openly told you it 3 years before it happened. In your fucking face, and that's not investigatable, huh? Nobody cares about this. Somebody have this knowledge then, huh? Nobody wants to ask him where he got it and investigate it. No. No, they don't. Of course they don't, because they're all in bed working together. So, see, you can't be surprised at all the bad that could come. I know I caught a red flag from Trump yesterday, and when I caught that red flag, I was like, okay, we're going to have to watch close now, see what's getting ready to come down, because I got a feeling something else is getting ready to happen. And I'm not trying to be an ass, but I really do. I have a feeling something else is getting ready to happen because of what Trump said himself. Now, all we can do is keep our eyes open. That's all I can do. You know. And as far as that goes, I'm telling you, this is not over anytime soon. And as far as the dating thing goes, well, when it's all said and done, there won't be people dating anymore anyhow. No, women ain't going to be, there ain't going to be nobody interested in dating. And the thing is they've got everybody where they want you already anyhow, because men don't know how to treat women and women don't know how to treat men. No. As Steve said, it's not the way it is no more. We don't take the time to get to know one another. Well, that right there is a dead fucking kill right there. I mean, if you ain't got time to get to know each other, you need to stop your ass whining about not having a woman in your life. You can just shut up. You don't have a right to whine about that. Because you're direct cause of that problem. You sure are. And I don't care what you're telling me, you are. You're actually causing the problem yourself. You're your own worst enemy, man. You're part of the problem and can't even see that you are. When you go along with the social engineering and you think we're all a commodity, a piece of meat on a shelf, okay, that we're all just a materialistic item when we're human beings. When you want to talk about there's too many sausages and you use all this terminology, which they want you to use, okay, you actually take chances away from yourself because your mindset becomes what you're believing and then your actions become play off of them subconsciously and the back of your conscious you wind up playing off of them and it destroys your chances of ever having anything because you have to get the time to know each other. And how are you going to do that? What if you're locked down? You can only go from here to there. Well, we know nobody's listening to that right now. That's right. They're letting you not listen. That way they can keep lying to you about the numbers going up and they get a little bit more abusive and a little bit more abusive till they did put a declaration of martial law and blame it on you. And then they'll just put military on your streets and it'll probably be foreign troops. That's right. And then you'll find yourself listening because law enforcement and military will be locking you up. Yeah. Because what they want is you to go from your house to the pharmacy if you got a prescription, to a doctor if you got a doctor appointment, to your grocery store if you're going to go to a marijuana shop or a liquor store. You do that while you're out. You go home and you stay home. If you got a job that's running, you got your piece of paper, Nazi. You can take your piece of paper with you so don't get arrested, Nazi. And you go to your job and you come home. If you don't go outside of that because you don't belong outside, slave. And this is what you better get used to. And what's that going to do to the dating scene? Well, we already know what that's going to do to the dating scene. Bye-bye, dating scene. It's TFL for everybody. Oh, yes, I know. Women will climb up that line and get all their attention from their computer at first, yes. But that's not going to be enough. No, it's not. And they're going to actually start getting lonely themselves. So then they got their dildos, because after all, women ain't sexual, according to the manosphere now. Women don't like sex as much as men, according to the manosphere. Okay, but that's only in the manosphere. When you get into real life and you actually live it, you discover that you were a fool for thinking that, because it's not true at all. And I don't argue with people who've never experienced, because how do you argue with them? They've never experienced it because they've never actually had a woman in their life. Oh, I'm not talking about getting laid, neither. That don't count. You can't count the 2 or 3 times you met somewhere and you got laid, and that's about all it was, okay? You can't count that. You can't count a month with a woman or 2, 3 months with a woman, and you're not together no more. No, that's non-countable because you had to have life experience being with, so that you're involved with married couples, so that women are speaking freely and openly in that type of environment, that type of setting, when they're around their friends, and even if their guy friends are there, they all speak freely and openly about things they don't talk about with anybody else in this department, okay? As you openly see it in your face. But that's hard to do if you're not in that situation now, isn't it? So therefore you know nothing about that area, but you think you do. You got yourself all convinced you do. You sure do. And there ain't no truth to it. That's why I said the only spot that I run into this issue is in the manosphere. If when I'm not in the manosphere and I'm out there on the political end only, and I meet all these people that don't speak on the dating scene and we talk, it's the same thing as I've met in real life, in my own face. And they all say the same thing I say, every last one of them. If you ask them if women like sex as much as men, they laugh at you and say, of course, what's wrong with you? Because they see and know the same thing I see and know. That's why I said I could understand TFLers and guys I could understand why they believe this. And I'm not getting on them because they believe it. I'm just telling them they're wrong. And they don't think they are because they've convinced themselves of something that isn't true. Not whatsoever. And it's sad that we are in this state, but we are. See, this is, but that's the reason I don't play into the social engineering. I know you hear Mr. Holka talk about the sexual market value and all this crap all the time. He uses all the wording, the social engineering wording, on a regular basis. He'll even scream at me and tell me, but that's just the way it is. And well, all that is complicity. He's very complicit with the very problem that'll keep him alone the rest of his life. Because the social engineering was designed to do exactly that. So all he does in that area is push the propaganda that keeps us divided. So you can have your rant shows about, how it is, and women are this and this, and there's too many men, and we need to kill them, and blah, blah, blah. But see, by design, that was deliberately done by design. To pit us against each other, to divide us, to keep you from ever having, and to keep us all fighting each other. And it worked. And it worked beautiful, didn't it? It sure did. I try to get this through people's heads, but I can't do anything about it, man. I'm not going to tell Steve, because Steve has to see it for Steve's self. And until Steve Hoka sees it for Steve Hoka's self, there's nothing you can do about it. I just have to say I agree to disagree and let it go because I like Steve. I consider Steve a friend. I like Steve, and I'm not slamming Steve in no means. But Steve will hesitate not to bring my name up. And he will hesitate not only to just to bring my name up and say stuff like, I don't understand why he blah, blah, blah. See, that's obvious he don't understand. So maybe if Steve took the time to listen to this live stream, Steve might not. I can't say. It's up to him. But I'm not arguing with anybody when I have the experience to know what I'm talking about. And I'm telling you it's fact, okay? And you gotta lose this wording, man, and it's gonna take work because, it is. When I said is self-discipline, people have to self-check themselves and recognize what social engineering is and stop using the social engineering terms. Stop it completely. Just knock it off. Stop it. And that takes self-work. And this is my point. These are all words that are used to destroy, man. They don't want the genders together. And we are women and men alike, man. We're both have fought for this. Both of us, both genders. It's not a one gender thing, man. No. And of course, it seems like a hungry sausage fest because what did we do? We've turned everything into a competition. We're all thinking it's a game, it's a sport, and it's an arena, man. Yeah, buy our tickets to the show. And that's how we're treating each other. Men and women alike, man. It's all the show. Yeah, I got my ticket. Did you get your ticket? It's insanity. It's complete insanity. It's off the Richter scales for complete insanity. This problem's not going to go away, but it is going to go away, see? Because the women won't have their power at the end of 2030. I don't know how much power they'll have left at the end of what's going on now. Oh, yeah, don't think they ain't going to tell them there's no way we'll get the power away from them. But don't worry, guys, you won't have the power neither. Who has the power? The very people that gave the women their power to begin with, the elite. That's right. Women will be knocked off their pedestal and they're going to start living TFL along with everybody else. And they're not going to like it. And they can cry and scream in public all they want, okay, because it won't be that way no more. Now it'll be like in China. Know your place and shut your mouth or your credit score goes down. That's right. We'll cut off your pay. You won't be allowed to travel. That's right. And they'll even be picking our jobs for us, guys. So you better get ready for that one too. But you know, the flooding of the job market in America, the jobs are all saturated. I do agree with First on that. I listened to him say that, and he was correct. The only part he wasn't correct about it wasn't because of overpopulation. He was totally off base on that one. It's not because of overpopulation at all. It's because the majority of our manufacturing in the United States was shipped overseas. We do not make our stuff here. It used to, when we were 100% making our own products across the board, there was plenty of jobs for everybody. But the majority of all of our stuff has been, our jobs have been shut down and taken overseas. A whole bunch of companies that was never even announced to you shut their doors and went overseas. Because they didn't want you knowing it was as bad as it was, because they knew you'd fucking get pissed at them. So they just shut their doors, people were out of job, and went overseas. That's exactly what's happened. We still have manufacturing, but we don't have it in the scale we used to, and we need it back. Why do you think China can have so many people and so many people can have work over there? Because all of our jobs in other countries' jobs are in China. See, it's not because we're overpopulated. No, this world is not overpopulated. No, we are not running out of resources. Every bit of that shit's nothing but lies. The elite are taking ownership of all the resources and controlling it so that they can use it as weapons against us, the slaves. That's exactly what they're doing, and that's exactly why the people of this world need to stand up and attack the elites and take them out. Every last one of them. And take all the resources and everything back. And that no single person can ever take ownership of the resources of the nation. It's the only way to free yourselves. And if you don't do that, you're never going to free yourself. You'll always be a slave. Always. I understand what you're saying, Dean, about Steve's anger. And his anger does cloud his judgment. I do agree with you on that. Unfortunately, it don't mean I hate Steve, because I'll never hate Steve. I like Steve. But you are right. Steve gets angry real quick. And his anger does cloud his judgment. Okay? On certain issues, it does. You know, and this is, at one time when I was angry and screaming up here, it clouded my judgment too. I don't do that no more now. There's no point of it. I'm more level headed and down to earth now than I've ever been in my entire life. But I'm also a whole lot more educated now on what's going on around me than I was 10 years ago. I made mistakes and went down rabbit hole over the last freaking 13, 14, years or whatever. But of course I have. Who hasn't, right? But I don't hit very many rabbit holes anymore at all. Not at all. I'm very aware of what's going on around me. But I do get frustrated and I do get angry at times over the fact that all this stuff that we're going through could have been stopped. All we'd have to do as a people is stop fighting one another. That's right. And recognize where the elite are getting their power from is those the people. Where they're getting their military is from us the people. You know, if you got foreign troops on your streets, you better tell your foreign troops if they're fucking in your face. You tell them straight up, say, so while you're here abusing me, our military's over there abusing your family. Why aren't you there to protect your family? Oh, that's right, for the same reason our military ain't here to protect their families. And why would you want to say that to a foreign soldier? Because you'll make them think. And why would you want to do that? Because if you could get enough of them thinking about what you just said, and they look around you, they look around where they're at, and see what the orders are and what's going on, and they realize it's happening over there where they're at, they'll be trying to get to their family. They'll fucking strive on their time down to get a hold of their family from thinking. And when they find out their family says we have these troops, and they realize it's foreign troops, and they're doing this and this, and they realize what they're doing over here, then two and two be connected. The dots will be connected in their head. Then they'll become angry and they will stop following the orders. Now they won't be attacking the American people. And the soldiers over there get the hint. They won't be attacking the other people's people. Now the elite's plan backfires on them. See, it's the only way we could save ourselves from this is for everybody, all citizens and all military across this world to recognize the truth. When they start flipping foreign troops onto your streets because your troops are over in another country as foreign troops in their country, is to keep, why do you ever think Trump made a 1,000,000-man recall? Trump is recalling 1,000,000 people back into the military that's retired. And he has the right to do it, and he's doing it. You know that's going to take a month or two to get them all off the strut. But you know why they're doing that? Because it's the vets that have the training that would stand up and defend American time of tyranny. They won't be here. They'll be overseas. They're taking your last defense away from you, right under your nose. See, all these things happen at time of war, too. And I do believe what you're seeing here will be the catalyst to World War III. And I don't want to say the way it'll play out. But Simon Parks was talking about China's already pointing their fingers at America and blaming America. Okay, and this is something I called before it ever fell out of Mr. Parks' mouth. I said, yep, this will be the catalyst to World War III. The nation, even though we're all in bed together, part of the script is we have to point fingers at each other. I mean, in a Hollywood show, we have to scripts wrote ahead of time. And since all governments are on board with this, then the governments have already talked about this, and it's all going to be a show. And the governments are going to carry their part, just like a Hollywood actor, the good guy and the bad guy. They're going to read their script and they're going to point their fingers because that's what they're being told to do. They don't care because they're not going to be involved in this. It's them pitting us against each other. We're the cattle, not them. No, their children won't be fighting either. We're the cattle, not them. They're gods. Armani would say they're somebodies. And we're just all nobodies. That's Montygraph's words. Okay? I go with more like, no, they think they're gods. And we're nothing but cattle. We're useless. Eaters and feeders. We're slaves. Yep, that's correct. World War I started the same. I see it, and I don't like what I see. I really did. I'm honest with people. I really thought I'd be dead before I'd ever see this, and I recognize what I'm seeing. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm still alive. I didn't think I'd be alive to see this, and I'm wrong. I was wrong. I'm still here, and I'm witnessing what I'm witnessing, and I'm going, oh my God, it started. Yeah, it has started. I've had many people say it ain't going to happen in my lifetime. It's 100 years from now or so, and I'm like, huh, are you rethinking that now? Because it has started right in your face. Yep, it's here. And it started. And now we all going to pay for not standing up. And we're going to pay in ways we're not going to like. Well, but you're not too late. We're only too late if we keep doing nothing about it and we don't stand together. And if we, and then the problem with that is I tried so hard to bring the manosphere together and couldn't do it. Because you all like your division so much. Oh, yes, you all love your division. You love to throw each other underneath the fucking bus every chance you get. You all love fighting with each other. You love your drama. That's your new modern day love. And as long as you keep your modern day love, you've lost. What's going on now will take you out. That's all I can tell you. What's going on now will take you out. So nothing's going to be the same again. And I think the dating scene, you're going to watch it go obliviously bye-bye. I mean, come on, where are the women going to go? Where are the women going to go hang out at, man? They ain't going to the club. They go to the bar. Oh, what do you mean there's curfew? Yeah, they have to be in it this time. Yep. TFL for all. See that big white elephant in the room? That elephant keeps getting bigger and bigger. And why do you think the establishment won't talk about TFL? Because they can't. It's the catalyst. It's deliberately done. That's correct. Tell by the dashboard lights right. Birth rates will drop lower, yes. That's correct. See, they want population reduction so freaking bad, man. And they've convinced everybody that we need it. And they don't realize that we're not overpopulated, but the majority of our jobs, the majority have been outsourced overseas. So now what jobs are left are flooded, numbers of tons of employees for them jobs. Okay? And when it comes to the female gender, they've done such a great job of dividing men and women alike. And us using all of the damn social engineering tools they gave us to destroy ourselves. That's the reason when, I hear, oh, it's just the way it is. That's right. He's right. It is the way it is now, but don't make it right being the way it is. And if you go along with the social engineering and push the social engineering because it's your belief, because they've actually fooled you, you keep the problem alive. You become part of the problem. That's all you do is you become part of the problem. And if you don't want to be part of the problem, you just need to recognize the truth that human beings ain't a commodity. There is no such thing as sexual market value. We have to stop competing against each other completely. We have to come back to reality and recognize each other as human beings. You got to take the country back, man. Everything that we have in our stores, everything in our hardware stores, in our lumber yards, everything should be being produced right here in America. Then the job market wouldn't be flooded. And for relationships, you got to take the time to get to know each other. You can't go, well, nobody has time for that anymore, and expect to have anything successful. I'm not going to argue with men that's never freaking had a relationship in their life. That's why I told you it's like, okay, I spent 28 years alone of my life, TFL, right? I got a woman in my life, and I had a son. And I was with this woman for a lot of years. And while I was with her, we were with other married couples, and I was around other women and married couples and personal conversations and everything I've seen, the life I lived and what I witnessed with my own eyes. And this is why if I leave the manosphere and go over to the truthers community and I get around all the normies and stuff, every one of these people that have had women in their life or the people that are in relationships and any kind of lengthy time in relationships, they'll all tell you the same damn thing. Women love sex every bit as much as men do. Correct. Yeah, that's not a lie. That's correct. And we have a percentage of women who don't like sex, and we have a percentage of men who don't like sex. They have low sex drive, okay? And then, of course, we have all the damn GMOs and the foods and the chemtrails and big pharma messing with our systems. This goes so deep for people to understand what's actually transpired and happened to all of us. But you have to be able to turn off the social engineering and think think in reality that we're all human beings. Okay, we all have feelings, emotions, wants, and needs. And we got to stop going with whatever everything that's been told to us is lies. We need you to just freaking examine and use your own head and look around you and see what's going on. And pay attention and try to understand how deep the social engineering is. It's gone on for so long. It really has. For so long. And, you know, the social engineering was going on when I was born. And I'm almost 60. You know, I'm almost 60 years old and it was going on when I was born. It wasn't as bad as it is now, but it was going on then too. Because it's all been done in baby steps. They didn't get as well right overnight. But you better be concerned about what's going on right now because I'll tell you, this damn corona thing's fake as fake comes. There is no corona. It's probably just the normal influenza and flu that's going around that everybody has every year being amped up. And amped up and amped up. Okay, that's really what you're seeing. You know, and then of course what Trump said yesterday, like I told you, that's a red flag, guys. I mean, you know, he went from "we're gonna win this war, yep, we're doing really good," to yesterday saying it's gonna be real hard next 2 weeks. That's right. We'll make it through it, but it's gonna be really hard. Yeah. You listen to Trump's speech from yesterday. You realize he sent up a red flag. He's telling you something's getting ready to happen. So he knows something we don't. Of course he does, because this is all an exercise. This is not really, there is no real virus. The virus is to take all of our rights away from us. The virus is to reshape every country into China. That is the virus. Oh, yes. Oh, once again, help by the dashboard right is right. And think about this. As we're in the middle of a pandemic, yeah, planned, not a pandemic, okay? We have hospital and clinic workers being let go. No lie. Losing their jobs in the middle of a pandemic. Hospital workers, health workers, that's right, being let go. The clinic in my town, we only have the one major clinic. We have another emergency clinic, but the one that's been here my life, every time I've been there, including the last 7 months, okay, up until this last appointment, it's always full of people, always. You get your blood drawn, you wait in a waiting room, you got 7, 8 people in front of you, okay? They all go and then you go, okay? So it always was. That was normal, right? And then I go to the clinic with Mr. Corona here, and by golly, the lot's almost empty. Outside of employees, I mean, parking lots don't even look the same, okay? And you go in and, oh, you got to stand behind the painter's tape on the floor. The counter's still way over there. Oh, that's right. We got to keep our distance, right? So we got to speak up. Everybody gets to hear us, and then you go over to the waiting room to get your blood drawn, and you're the only one in there. You go to the gal at the counter, and you just stand in line again. She says, "Have a seat," and you have a seat. And a couple minutes later, she gets up out of her chair, comes around the corner, and calls me back, and she's the one taking my blood. I'm going, "What the hell?" And so I asked her the question. She, "Oh, now we're really super slow because Nobody wants to come to the clinic because of corona. They're all afraid they're going to get corona. How's, oh. And I says, oh, so then you're going to be losing employees. And she says, well, no, we got plenty of other stuff we can do. And in reality, they are actually laying off healthcare workers. And then after seeing what I seen on Twitter and living across the street from the hospital I live and seeing what they're doing there and what I seen on Twitter, if you just went to Twitter and punched in empty hospitals, which I did a video and showed you that. You find out real quick, that these hospitals are empty. All over the place, even in New York. That's right, even in New York. It's a lie. I mean, I'm sorry. In the middle of a pandemic, we always let go of healthcare workers when it's a war zone and we got too many people sick. Bullshit. You know, that's exactly what it is BS all the way. And I don't know what to tell people, man. I'm just like, okay. You know, you just go ahead and believe this, but I do pay attention to this. You know, I don't know. I mean, you know, Monograph tells a lot of truth. But see, I watch the shills because the shills are the agents like watching David Icke. Okay? Or, you know, we could go to David Icke, we can go to Jason Goodman, we can go to Simon Parks. We have our choice, right? Okay, you can go to Oli Demogard, you can go to Cody Snodgrass, you can go to Russian Vids, you can go to Richie from Boston. Yeah, all paid plans. You could go to Dabu 7. Yeah. Dutch Sense. Oh, what's wrong? Red Michelle Hopkins. Oh, God. Roy Potter. Oops. I'm saying too many, ain't I? But you know, when you're having something like this going on, you have to understand the employees of the establishment, the elite, always told us they was going to tell us what they were doing, you know, and then they would do it, we would do nothing about it. This has always been known. And yesterday, Jason Goodman, yes, Steve, Jason Goodman's a plant. He's an employee of the establishment. The man works strictly with Hollywood. He is the man that invented the camera for Hollywood that they use for 3D movies and could put pictures and planes and real video that never existed inside another video. He's the man that invented that camera. He's Mr. Hollywood himself. Okay? So, you know, but the thing is in something like this, you want to listen to a little of every one of these people because they're all going to tell you pieces of the truth. And I seen yesterday this interview with Jason Goodman and this colored guy on there, okay, this black man on there, and which only showed his picture, and he did a lot of talking, but guess what? It was the best 2 hours you could ever, and you would not be wasting your time listening to it whatsoever. I'll guarantee you 90% truth ratio. Normally don't happen. Normally it could be 60, 70, whatever. But this is like a 90% truth ratio on corona. It is exactly what I knew. And it's all broke down and put right in your face. You can say, why would they allow me to do that? Because this is how you do it. Okay? You have it going on. You let somebody tell the real truth, like Jason Goodman did, okay, in his interview. Then Jason Goodman's next interview goes into somebody else questioning back and forth, is it real? Now, do you see how they create the fusion here? We got it going on. We tell you the real truth, and then we make a mockery out of you. That's right. You got to be smart enough to recognize it. I would suggest that everybody listen to that. Go to his channel, okay? Should probably be the second one in. He did 2 live streams yesterday, and it'd be the first one. So, yeah, I haven't seen him do one today. I'd have to get the name of it. I did share the link with Mr. Hoka yesterday, okay, in his Zoom box. I shared it with Hayden Rose, so These guys have the actual link to the one I'm talking about. I think it's the best thing you know right now if you really want to educate yourself. Listen to this interview. Listen to this interview that was done talking about this because I'll guarantee it's the truth. I can show you the evidence. It's all backed up. It's honest truth. So much truth in there. It'll give you a real eye opener on what this is really about. You know, and Steve's in here. You know, Steve, I'd love to be in one of your live streams, but my medication, Saturday nights I throw myself out of whack and I pay for it all day Sunday. Because if I don't keep my medications on schedule, it screws with my system. And for the first time in 5 years, I can honestly say I'm not having chest pain every other day because of the change on my medications that was given to me here. So, if I was to stay up and come on your live streams late at night like that, I would be out of whack every single time. It just totally messes me up. I mess myself up one day a week. If you do your live streams a little bit earlier, like 9 at night or something, 10 at night, you know, if you did it 9 at night to midnight or something, your time, I could be on your live stream. I wouldn't mind that. But you do them when I can't be, so I can't be there. Not that I don't want to be part. I don't know if your friend first would let me be there anyhow because I keep hearing how he don't like me, you know. So, and I know one live stream of yours that I came into first was there and first left. As soon as I came in that live stream, he exited. Okay, so you know, and I'm not there to run off your guest. Now that's to Steve. I understand he's a good speaker, and I've been listening to him a little bit. Okay, I do understand he's a good speaker. Okay, but you know, you do them at a time of night that I could never join you because my medications get totally thrown off on Saturday night, and I can't keep throwing my schedule off 4 or 5 days a week to be on your streams because you do them so late. You remember you're an hour ahead of me. You come up at midnight your time. That's 11 o'clock my time. And if I did a 3-hour live stream with you 11 o'clock my time, that puts me 2 a.m. before I'd get off the live stream into bed. And I got to have my medications in my system by 7 a.m. to keep my schedule. Okay? So then I wind up getting up and I got to eat before I can take them or I get a stomach ache. Okay? So I got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to bed at 2. And if I do this day after day, it just really messes with me. So, and my health already ain't good, you know. And there's some nights my sonic nerve, my back goes off, and I have a hell of a time trying to sleep. So that's the only reason. I'd like to be on one of your live streams with you, Steve, with first. You know, I'd like to do that. Okay. But I can't do it if you keep holding them that late at night. So I guess if you don't want me on your live streams, that's a good way to do it. Just keep doing them late at night and I'll never be there. Yep. I just know that we got a lot of shit coming down on us, guys, that I don't like. And as scary as it is to watch that interview, I think you need to watch it because you're going to get a lot of real factual truth. Because the lead always did say they would tell us what they were doing and then they would do it. We would do nothing about it. And so, because they took their exercise and took it live globally, because they're after your rights, that's what it's about. They want to collapse your societies. This is not an accident, this is deliberate. So, I see Hell by the Dashboard Light in here, and I like having him in here. I always wish the day could come that Steve, Hell by the Dashboard Light, myself could be in a stream. I wouldn't care if it was Steve, Hell by the Dashboard Light, first, Hayden Rose, and myself. I wouldn't care. I think that'd be an awesome live stream, personally. But, I can't make anybody do anything, and I'm not going to. I only say with Mr. Hoka, the live stream's got to come down to an earlier time for me in order for me to be there. If he continues to start his live streams at 12 o'clock midnight, 1 in the morning, his time, I can't do it. I can't be up to 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. No, my schedule with my medicines, oh no, that just totally messed me up. Years ago, before the heart attack and all my health problems, you're damn right I could have done it, and I would have done it. I just can't do it now, so I'm limited. So no, you're not going to find me up at night. Even Monograph will do his live streams late in the night like Steve. And I'll get up in the morning and listen to it, okay? If I get a chance to catch him live, I'll go freaking watch him live. And the reason I've been watching him and Jason Goodman more through this, and David Icke, and certain employees of the establishment, plants, is because I knew that the truth would be told. And I'm awake enough to be able to pull out the lie and pull out the real truth. And the best one I found at all, the best, is between Monty Graff and Jason Goodman. And Jason Goodman, that freaking interview he did with that color guy yesterday, you only see his picture and hear the voice. That was a 2-hour live stream, but that was well worth listening to. There was so much concrete evidence and stuff talked about that's from history clear up to now. You want to know who's all involved in Corona? Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. That's right. Bill and Melinda Gates. Uh-huh. Yeah. Let's see. The Rockefellers. Oh, the Rothschilds. Oh, George Soros. Yeah. It's all backable. Every last bit of it's backable. They're all involved with this. So you got to go listen to this. It's factual stuff he's telling you. This was planned a long time ago. The funding and everything for all this, is so deep. It's been going, this was planned so long ago. They've had years to set for this and plan this. That's why it was wrote about in 1981. That's not an accident. And Steve's right, even The Simpsons. None of this is accidental. This was planned, and it's been planned for many years. And they're carrying it out. It's an exercise that they're carrying out, and it's to scare the living shit out of everybody. They want to scare us so bad that we willingly give up our rights. And I don't know what's coming down. I just know Monty Graff mentioned Ohio. Something with NWO, and something's going to happen in Ohio. And he just says he hasn't been able to put his finger on it yet. He's going to keep looking, but it's Ohio. Well, I'm not going to say he's wrong. I'm not going to say he's correct, but I'm not going to say he's wrong. And then we have Trump yesterday, the way he spoke yesterday. No. You've got to listen to the way he spoke yesterday. He openly said the next 2 weeks are going to be very hard, very tough, but that we'll make it through it. That right there tells me that planning something's getting ready to happen. Okay, I don't know what, but something's getting ready to happen. Oh, that would make sense. I have a all-female governor staff here in Iowa, Steve. My governor's female, and everybody comes in with her all the time, females. Every now and again, she'll have a guy there, but it's basically a female-run state. Yeah, Iowa's a female-run state. In Ohio, you're telling me your Army action, as decided by females. Well, there you go. Why not? So you're getting up there with Iowa, are you, Steve? But there ain't no women in positions, right, Steve? We'd never have women in any kind of government positions, right? It's right in your face. Oh, she even overrides the government. Oh, there you go. We got no women in high places, right, Steve? So in your face. Yep, that's what that is. That's so in your face. I don't know, man. I'm telling you, just. But I think everybody in this room, if they would just take a couple hours out of their day and watch it. Steve has the link. I put it in a Zoom yesterday. I haven't even logged into Zoom yet today, so I'm not on Zoom. So it ain't like I'm bringing anybody in this live stream unless I log into Zoom. That'd be the only way that'd happen. Okay. And I'm not logged into Zoom right now, so because I figured I was doing this so early in the morning while I log into Zoom, I just come up here and do this myself before I logged into Zoom. So I haven't logged into Zoom yet, so therefore really nobody can come into this live stream. You know. And we still got our trolls trying, because I know Steve's now protected himself in his show, and I'm happy for that, because Steve at least can have his show without having all the BS happening, okay? And he's got control of it now, so it's going to be harder for Troll to get in there. So, you know, and as long as Steve keeps bringing in only people he knows, that if something happens, he'll be able to center out who did it like I did. And that'll put a stop to that crap, okay? Because we don't need the trolling. Steve don't need it, and for whatever reason, people's decided to target Steve, and for whatever damn reason, they've targeted Steve, okay? So I'm glad that Steve's been able to at least get it done without being, that part I'm happy for Steve for. I just wish he'd do it a little earlier in the day, so evening, so I could join in. Oh, yes, exactly. I'm with Hell on this. I think, you know, here's the deal. Some guy dies in a nursing home from a heart attack. Okay, that's Corona. Up, another guy dies in a nursing home, or a woman from emphysema. Up, or Alzheimer's. Up, that's Corona. Yep, that's Corona. That's how they're getting their deaths, man. I think it's a computer generated program. They're just running it, and whatever the number spits out is what they report to you. But until you see them reporting no more cases, then there's no end in sight. And so far, every day, it's more cases, which means the end is not in sight. And when Trump said that, how this next 2 weeks was going to be very hard, okay, that's a red flag. You got to understand that man knows something he's not telling the public. Something's going to happen, and I don't know what it is. Well, Steve, that's not hard to do sometimes, because we live in a dumbed down society, and they go with the BS, and they don't use critical thinking skills. And if you got critical thinking skills and could put two and two together, most of the time you can. These guys don't want to talk to you, okay, because they know. I mean, doctors and nurses, they spend years getting their careers, and they go way in debt. You know, $150,000, $250,000 in debt that they have to pay back. And then they get their license, and their career, their tool, their money, the root of all evil. Oh no, I'll do whatever you say. I don't want to lose I've got too much into this. Too many years of my life. That's right. Too many years of my life. I got a good career. I got good pay. I don't want to lose that. Yeah, I'll do as you say. Okay, if it means lie to the public, that's what I'll do. And they'll sit there and they'll sign them freaking, you know, they'll sign that piece of paper that says that they're not allowed to tell. Or they go to jail or they're prosecuted, just like Alex Jones has. That's why Truth Media is up here on YouTube, and Truth Media tells lots of truth. Very professionally done. Of course, Hollywood, right? You see Hollywood in it. All you got to do is pay attention. There's nothing I can say, I mean, the stuff's out here. You just got to, dig and being aware enough and awake enough to understand what you're seeing. And the best one I found yet, between Monty Graff and Jason Goodman, and then digging into what they say, it's all backable. They're not lying to you. Now, Jason Goodman will deceive you, but he'll emotionally play confusion with you. He'll show you the real truth, then he'll come up and do an interview with somebody who's questioning what he showed you the day before. That is to keep you confused. That's the reason I do that. It's like putting a devil's advocate in a show loaded with truth. At the end of the show, people are confused. Even when you tell the real truth, they're confused. They don't know if it's the real truth or not. That's what that's about. It's about keeping people in a state of confusion and panic and scared. That's what they want. And at the same time, they're telling us what they're doing and what it's about and everything, if you know where to look. That's the reason I shared that link with Steve Hoka yesterday. And I hope Steve Hoka takes the time to watch that Jason Goodman episode and takes that link and puts it over to Hell by the Dashboard Light and anybody else. And you guys take the time to watch it. Go to his channel and watch it. It's worth the 2-hour watch. It really is. Then you can go dig into what this guy says and you'll find out it's all factual, that you wasn't lied to. Then you'll have a bigger understanding of what this is really about. And it's going to take resistance from us, the people, if we want to shut them down. And if us, the people, don't resist, and the sad thing about it is, if we resist too much, they're going to declare a declaration of martial law and you're going to have military in the streets and you'll be combating with military. Things are going to get really ugly, really nasty, really fast. Because they're moving in our rights worldwide to change the economies in the world over to their role model, China. And if we don't stop them, we're all going to be living just like the Chinese. So, there's not a lot I can say. Oh, yeah, people with power trips, I know. Our division comes back into this. That's right, our programming. And then Trump recalling 1 million soldiers back to the military that are vets. That small army we would have had that could have rose up against something like that? They won't be here. Why do you think he's calling 1 million people back to the freaking military? It's not because of a pandemic. And if you pay attention, they're deporting our troops overseas while they're calling these people back. And he's already activated the National Guard. I mean, you need to watch and see where your military is going. What's going on overseas right now while this is going on, and why is your military going over there? That's right, Steve. Planned dummy, because that's what it was. This is all a damn plan. There is no freaking virus running around. No, that's a big lie. There is no virus. There is no corona. I think you got the normal flu season and influenza and things that happen normally every single year. That's all this is. And they're taking the death count from this and they're using it as, and then they're lying about the numbers and lying about everything. And of course they are. It's part of the plan. That's why it's a pandemic. Because, I've been up here, I guess, for 2 hours. Oh, now Espiel's here. uh, you know, I suppose I could do this if somebody wants to get in here. Give me a second. There we go. Okay. I've now logged into Zoom just in case anybody wants to decide they want to jump in here. Hello, Espiel. If somebody wants to jump in this chat with me and give their opinion, I've got the door open so you can. Send me a PM on Zoom and I'll bring you in. I've been at this for 2 hours by myself. I was thinking about going, and every time I think about going, I see more people showing up at the end. Okay, so, well, I mean, I guess we got nothing better else to do, right? We're all locked up in our homes, right, in lockdown. And so, Steve's been here talking, but I'm not saying Steve will want to come on here. But I opened the door in case anybody, if you want in here. Okay, I can do that. I would actually enjoy that. Okay, so anyhow, yeah, there we go. Well, hello, Steve.
Hey, how do you like this pandemic?
Oh, well, it's been planned out really well.
Yeah.
And I think we're all in a lot of trouble.
Well, we got this one woman doctor running the whole show. Her name's Amy Acton, Acton, and she's a bimbo. She fluffs her hair, she preens her hair with her fingernails while she's talking. I mean, the woman, she's got like two adult kids in their late 20s, yet she's barely 45. So you can't imagine she spent her whole life being a doctor. She probably took 10 years off, and she's the state appointed doctor. She overrides the governor, and it's so freaking crazy. Ohio is a state that's probably going to get the first wave of martial law.
Now, that very well could happen. I know Monty Graff mentioned your state, okay? He mentioned NWO and some stuff he's looking into, and he's got a suggestion that something big's going to happen in Ohio, but he hasn't
Yeah.
he hasn't been able to put his finger on it.
Yeah, but let me tell you, nursing home. I visit my relative in the nursing home all the time, and I don't see anyone that knows anyone that's got corona. It's a joke. This thing, it's not a joke. They still keep, they take your temperature. But the point is that I'm able to visit this person, my mother. Okay, I'll just say it's my mother. No problem as long as I take a temperature test. But the problem is that people aren't investigating. They're not going by the Cleveland Clinic and asking where are all these high, So I know a couple of people said, well, your Cuyahoga County doesn't have many cases. That's why. Well, then you go to New York and then you find Jason Goodman going by there, and there's all these ambiguous, unanswered questions about why aren't the ambulances going back and forth. It's a ghost town. It's a joke. It's this whole thing is social engineering and it's finest. Guess what? The local people calling the local radio station are fuming, even though the talk show hosts are trying to keep it out of the conspiracy realm. People are not fucking budging on a local level. They're saying this is bullshit.
Oh
People are
no,
calling up
there's not. There's not, Steve. You're right
Yeah,
on. You're right on spot. Okay.
yeah.
You know
Two
when?
out of every three, two probably. There was some black guy that called in the very last call the other day, and he's like, "Oh no, this is real. I work at the hospital. This is really going on." No, he's a fucking liar. It's not going on. Because
Exactly.
they're trying to speak the party line here because most people don't know anybody that's got corona. But most of the callers calling in on the 1150,000 watt station here in Cleveland on the Mike Trevisano show or They're all trying to keep it out of the conspiracy realm, but guess what? People are getting pissed. They're like, this is bullshit. They're talking about civil liberties and rights. And unfortunately, it takes callers to do this because no fucking talk show host is ever going to entertain that this is a conspiracy.
Yes, you're correct, Steve, and it does. And unfortunately, if you know, when I got that look over on Twitter under empty
Yeah,
hospitals, and I seen all the comments from people all over the world, people just
yeah,
like me and you, Steve. Okay,
yeah,
and some of these people went out of the way. This one gal, the one that really impressed me, was a female, had a
yeah,
hospital that had 30 or 40 cases of corona. And she walked in
right,
the door, got past the lobby, went over to the hospital, found the respiratory therapy department empty. Okay, the
yeah.
hospital was virtually no, nothing was going on. Okay, and this is
Yeah.
what we're seeing all over the world.
Yeah, it's not hard to believe. People say, "Well, how could all nations do this?" If all nations are on board with crashing the economy, why wouldn't they be on board? It's easy. Listen, if you can, it's not hard to fool most people. It doesn't take much to do it. It doesn't really take much. That's why when people say once two people know about something, that the bad cat's out of the bag. There have been like gang shootings where 50 people have witnessed a gang shoot someone else, and they all keep their fucking mouth shut. All 50 do. So what does
Yes.
that tell you? Oh, yeah. I mean, people witnessed mafia in the Italian neighborhoods in the 30s and 40s. Probably people witnessed shootings all the time, and they all unisonly kept their mouths shut.
Well,
So what the fuck does that
yeah.
tell you?
Well, Steve, like this. Here's a really good example for you.
Yeah,
When you take your leaders of your countries globally, and you take and create a United Nations and a World Bank,
yeah.
okay, and you give them all good money, right, and put them in a position
Right.
of power and wealth, right, they're not going to want to
Hmm.
lose that, so they'll all be on board with whatever.
Oh yeah, they don't care. Amy Acton is the biggest joke the state doctor. She's like overriding and she's preening her hair while she's talking. What a fucking bimbo! She's got about a 98 IQ. Oh, Dr. Amy Acton, she's such a genius. Oh, she's got this. We need to be concerned, people. We need to be keep this. We need to calm down. She's a fucking liar. She's a pathological fucking liar, Amy Acton. And I'm sick and tired of being insulted. My intelligence level, I mean, I cannot. I'm sick and tired of being fucking lied to. I really am. I want to see the hospitals. I want to see all these so-called people, all these ambulances picking people up. It's not happening. This is like the Germans, during World War II. They all pretended there wasn't. It's kind of the reverse of Nazi Germany, where there was shit going on, but everybody was singing German folk songs in Austrian Alps or whatever. It was so ridiculous. Well, this is like a reversal of that, where nothing's happening and everybody's panicking.
That's exactly right, Steve. Steve's not wrong about that. What Steve is saying is the absolute truth. That is what's going on. This is all fraud. And the sad thing is that they ramp this stuff up because I think what they're, this is my opinion, okay? You know, my Pam told me the other day, even with the restrictions the governor put down, nobody's listening, right? Okay. So this will be the excuse for them to say nobody's listening, so it keeps growing. So we're going to have to get tougher on people who ain't in after curfew and not self quarantining themselves. And they're going to get tougher on people as the month goes. I
That's going to be hard to do because when you have the restaurant industry, which is probably two-thirds a mom and pop industry, I don't think they'll be able to keep the lid on this for every. And there's already regional fracture, like in Cuyahoga County. If you get enough people calling Mike Trevisano's show on the 1100, they can say, "Well, we want to keep it away from conspiracies." No, people are getting pissed and they're saying, "Fuck this! We're tired of this. We don't want to hear this shit anymore." We're a little more, we're Cleveland is a little bit more ornery of a city because our sports teams always let us down. We're a little bit more hot-headed than most cities, so we're not as easy to control as New York. I think Clevelanders are pretty much getting fucking tired of this. They're starting to just, some of these people that call the radio are just blowing their lids, and I need to record the show this because then I can put it up online. I could show
oh
you what
yeah.
people are.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
Something funny just happened. Espio types in the chat, right? He goes, because we all want masks, okay? And medical workers, right? With the mask part. Right after Espio
No, they're
brings,
not. People aren't bitching about masks.
I
They're
know.
Cleveland does. Yeah, Cleveland is very. close knit with their economy, and we take pride in our economy because, and we don't like people fucking with it, and people in Cleveland are getting sick of this shit, and it's evidenced by the people calling in that they don't believe this lie. I go visit my mom in the nursing home, and I talk to people in the nursing home, and I've asked, just, I don't say, hey, is this a fraud? I just say, you know anybody with COVID-19? No, I really don't. No, I really don't. No, there's nobody with COVID-19 running around out there.
That's correct.
Everybody's
That's
hating.
correct. But you
It's
know
all it's yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was
And
just
so go ahead.
okay. I was just going to finish what I was saying. Right after SBO typed about
Okay, go ahead.
right after SBO typed about the mask, I had a little window pop up in my
Yeah.
corner promoting buy your safe mask.
Yeah.
Buy your safe mask from Corona pops up in my corner right after SBO typed that, and I'm going, really?
I don't think they can contain every county in the nation. See, Bill, you have to understand, Americans, we have pockets of sheeple like New York, and you have people, and I think the people, this proves something to me really much. If like a city like Cleveland could rebel against this and say, fuck this, we're gonna open the restaurants, but New York does it, it tells me New Yorkers are a bunch of sheeple. They've gotta be. They've gotta be, there's got to be something that's got to give, because if New York is, to be able to control an entire nation or a city like New York. Now, another thing I got to tell you something about that Andrew Cuomo, or not Andrew Cuomo, who's that guy? Chris Cuomo. He's the son of Mario Cuomo. He's a commentator on CNN. His brother is the governor of the state of New York. He's claiming he's got COVID now, but yet I think this could be a psyop. He might just be pretending he's got COVID
Oh,
19.
I totally agree with you, Steve, and
Yeah,
I think you said something very smart, Steve.
because what he's going to do is promote his brother. His brother's the governor of, what better way to promote the control of the state of New York than have your brother, who's a CNN announcer, say, I got COVID, my brother really has to get this job done, we need to really clamp down. What a fuck, I mean, it's the perfect scam if there ever was one.
It is, and I'm like, what you just said a little bit ago, this would be awesome, Steve, if
Yeah.
people started reopening their restaurants regardless of what they said.
Yes, absolutely, and it could be done. It could be done if enough people start calling these shows. But finish, I'm sorry, I got kind of excited.
I thought, well, I don't think you got so much excited. I think you said some real truth. Because
Yeah.
if people would do that, regardless of what they said, reopen their restaurants and people would go into them, they would find out nobody was getting sick. It would
No,
overturn what they're doing.
Amy Acton would try to make, now Cuyahoga County is in the worst case. It's, people are dying in the streets. This is fucking bullshit. It's a fucking con game. I
You're
mean,
right.
nobody in the
You're
nursing
right.
home knows anyone that's got any with COVID. It's a fucking scam, is all it is. It's a fucking con game. This thing is
They'd
bullshit.
probably bring in crisis actors and pretend they got sick from being in that restaurant.
Hey, Bill, you notice when they want to make a TV commercial for someone to have bowel movement problems, there's 100,000 people that will line upside to be in that commercial. Actors are a dime a fucking dozen. Never in the history of Hollywood and entertainment has there been a dime a dozen actors. There's billions of people that want to be famous actors. So getting crisis actors is easy.
Yes, exactly. Easy as
They're a dime a
easy.
dozen. They're a fucking dime. There's not a shortage of people that want to be actors. Look at every TV fucking commercial. There's people that got limbs blown off that'll say, "I'd love to be in that commercial. I'll make a fool of myself if you let me in that commercial." I mean, that's how pathetic we are as a society.
I agree. I agree. You're right on spot. It's just,
Yeah.
it's sad that it's this way, but you're right. So and I think that's probably what happened, but I think it would be a good stand if people just everywhere all over the country started opening their restaurants and bars back up. Oh my God, I'd like to see how they would control that.
I need to call up that radio stations. It's not hard to get on and voice my opinion. I mean, a lot of people are just getting fed up with this shit. They're so fed up with it. They realize, and here, I mean, I'm not saying the restaurant industry isn't as much important in New York as it is Cleveland, but we very much have a very close knit economy here, and people are very pro Cleveland no matter how bad things get, and they don't like this fucked up thing with their restaurants, because you got people with good jobs that are still working that now they can't spend their money at the very places they kept in business, and that's pissing people off, and it's bullshit. We're being lied to. This is even if there were some concerns with corona, what better crisis to have an excuse to take away people's rights?
Yeah. Now I do agree with Espio. He says they would be arrested for opening their restaurants. It would
Well,
be
then I guess they had to
defies
arrest
the
a.
authority.
Well, yeah, there's going to have to be some control of regional. Well, the next step they would do is they would freeze the borders to Cuyahoga County and say no food can come through here. They'd pull some shit. This they're going to go after the food. This is the biggest thing they're going to go after, I think, is because once you control the food, you control everything else. They're
Yeah,
gonna.
I'm with
Yeah,
you on that because in Minnesota, they declared all the grocery store workers as emergency workers.
yeah,
Okay, think about it. They shut everything else down. They're not going to shut the store down, but they're sending partial orders to the stores. I talked to management over at the store again yesterday, and I was surprised because they actually had a stock on meats and stuff, but the toilet paper, forget it. There isn't a stock on that. That
mhm,
shit's still gone, right? And
yeah,
the manager says the problem they've had is their shipments, they placed orders. They're only getting partial orders because the vendors don't have it because of people buying so much.
yeah.
And and
It's
that does make sense. Look at all the hoarding that took place over panic.
yeah. I don't know what to say. I can tell you right now, they had better we had better start seeing evidence of this corona. We're hearing reports, but there's too many counteracting reports. The only thing I can say, the people in New York are like a bunch of sheep. They're all staying indoors.
Yeah, they are. You see it, and I don't see it in my area so much. We got our first case of an invisible disease here in my county. I don't know where at in my county, but we got our first case.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, I'm happy for you that you can get into your nursing home because even though our governor hasn't put us in any kind of restrictions like other states, she's closed the nursing homes to all visitors.
yeah,
So if you got a family member in a nursing home in the state of Iowa, you can't go see them.
yeah.
So I'm happy they haven't done that to you over there.
Right.
Because over here it's the opposite. Janie can't go see her mom.
Hmm.
Which is sad because she should be allowed to go see her mom, but she's not because of an
Well,
invisible
I
thing
mean,
that
like I
don't
say,
exist.
Bill. I mean, until I mean, I lost my grandmother, our great grandmother, in the flu in 1918. Everybody knew someone that was getting sick from this thing.
Yeah.
Bill,
Well,
everybody in this country knows at least one person that's committed suicide.
yeah, that's true.
And so, how in the world could like almost nobody know anybody with COVID? But the chances of suicide is 1 in 5,200. Yet, I mean, like the crisis, a phony crisis, is like not one person knows someone with COVID. Oh, but no, my sister works in the hospital. She knows a friend who knows a friend of a nurse that knows somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I believe that like a hole in the head.
Yeah. Even the doctors are evasive about it. No, I talked to a doctor recently, a physician, and I asked him about it, and he said, "Well, you just got to be careful, wash your hands." But he could not answer my question. Have you seen anybody with COVID? That was really funny. A doctor of all things.
Yeah. You know what I say? I think as we progress into the summer months, and they're going to try to keep everybody locked in their homes during the summer months.
Oh
I,
my God, that's going to be crazy.
yeah, I think that's going to cause a lot of anger.
Yeah. Want to know why? Hey, do you want to know why they would be at a loss if everybody broke the quarantine? Because what would happen was all the people who broke the quarantine, we'd be like, okay, who's got this virus? They would blow their cover by doing this. By breaking the quarantine, and after about a month and no one catches it, they would break their cover. Their cover would be broken. So they have to give people the illusion that, well, the reason why you don't see people with COVID is because we're doing a good job. We're doing a good job.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's a fucking scam. And this Amy Acton, she's a fucking bimbo. She's got about a 95 IQ. She's running her fingers through her hair while she's talking. Of course, like I always bitched about these older women with long hair. Now they always want to look real sexual, and It's a joke. It's like a fucking doggy pony show. This we have a baby boomer mayor or governor, Mike DeWine, and these people. This is the old generation doing this. This is why these older fuckers need to be out of power, Bill. I've always said the older crowd, the pre-baby boomers and the baby boomers, these fucking people need to cede power right the fuck now. They are absolutely pushing this shit. They are the ones, the older crowd, the 80, 70-year-old crowd is pushing this bullshit.
Yeah, I think if we started removing people from positions of power, the baby boomers and pre-baby boomers, we could see changes happened. I'm liking this
We would.
last.
We would.
I'm liking this last comment. I don't know who this person is. White bot. He says, "I heard F.A. Monday has corona." Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Yeah,
I was like, yeah, he's
I don't.
got the invisible one,
So,
right?
so if you think about this situation with Andrew Cuomo's the governor, his brother, his younger brother Cuomo, Chris Cuomo's got this disease. What better thing to promote his brother's position as a governor than to say, "Look, I'm the brother of the governor, and I have it, and I have to do my CNN broadcasts from home now." It's all fake. And then Sanjay Gupta's pretending like he's real concerned and, "Oh, I feel for you, brother. I feel." It's all. This is all stage acting. It's all
It
crisis
is.
acting. Is all it is.
It is. That's exactly what it is. And
They're
you're
all
getting,
fake.
yep, and you're getting all this fake acting coming on telling you this stuff, but yet nobody can find anybody that has it because it don't exist.
Right. I mean, like I said, if you think about anybody that's ever committed suicide, I have a relative that committed suicide, a cousin that committed suicide. I know somebody personally. I know a half a dozen people that I grew up with that committed suicide or whatever, and yet nobody knows anybody with corona, but everyone knows at least one or two people that have committed suicide.
Yeah. Now,
So,
how about
so,
the
so you're
dashboard?
gonna sit, yeah. So you're gonna sit there and tell me that this crap. I mean, it's just absolutely insane. That we're running around here. Like, what is it gonna take? It's like saying there's a crisis of child molesters. We all know they exist. There's sick people out there, but you can't sit there and say 1 in 10 men is a child molester, or every 1 in 5 men is a rapist in New York City. Like the show Law and Order SVU does. Every 1 in 10 men is a rapist in New York City.
Yeah. Well, how about the dashboard light asked about the summer? He says, will they close parks, trails, and during the summer? I wouldn't be
Speaking,
surprised if they did.
well, there's that's been talked about, but not so much here yet. And they're going to drive. If I'll tell you what, if they close the Metro Park system in Cleveland, which is a real big staple for people to get out, and they close the park, absolutely there will be fucking rioting. I mean, people are sick and tired of this in Cleveland. They're getting tired of it. They're calling the news station. All I have to do is just listen. They don't, the commentators can say, like this guy named Dennis Manilov, he does the sports. He's like, well, we got to keep it away from conspiracy theories. Let's just kind of keep it on the straight and narrow. No, let's not keep it on the straight and narrow. Let's let the people voice their opinions, because in reality, maybe local talk radio is about the closest thing that we have to maybe free speech. And you have to use those avenues to do that.
Well, SBO says, well, why would the pharmacies be out of albuterol inhalers if it doesn't exist? Because people panic and run to a doctor who gives them a prescription for it, and they get the market flooded with people wanting just them items from fraudulent means.
Right. Like that's like asking, why are there so why does it seem like there's so few women? Because all these horny penises are giving them attention and putting or amping up their value, so that it makes it seem as if there's no women out there.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's scarcity.
Yeah.
Okay, like toilet paper, they run out of it because everybody goes buys it, and I'll never figure out in a million years how people freaking go from toilet paper. I
And
can't figure
another
that one
thing,
out.
Bill, you shop at that. I don't know why you love Walmart. Walmart's a shit store. I've never shopped there. I've shopped there 10 times in my entire life. I mean,
No,
that's
no,
in my
I
30
don't.
years of.
I don't just shop at Walmart. That would be a wrong statement. My
No,
favorite,
but I mean,
my favorite store is
yeah,
actually Hy-Vee.
okay,
Okay,
yeah, because
My brother
Walmart is
works at
naturally
Walmart.
gonna. There's so many good stores in the Cleveland area, mom and pop and regular, that are very stocked. Like the other day, I did find toilet paper and it was stocked heavily. So
Yes.
you have to know where to go. If
Well,
you
and
go to
this,
Walmart, Yeah,
In
go
in
ahead.
my town, Brian went out the other day to buy some toilet paper, right? He
Yeah,
went to Walmart, they were out. He went to freaking Hy-Vee, they were out. He went over, we only had two of the grocery stores, the one was closed. So he went over to freaking Jew Oscars over here, 3 blocks from my house. And they were almost out, but he did get a package of toilet paper from them, okay? But yet the
yeah,
rest of the stock in the store seems to be pretty good over here, 3 blocks from my house. Because I go over there quite often because it's only 3 blocks from my house.
yeah.
But my brother works at Walmart, so we wind up in Walmart. And Jason always wants to go to Walmart for whatever reason. Okay. So when Jason decides to go to a store, he'll want to go to Walmart, so I'll take him to Walmart. But when it comes buying food, most of the time I prefer Hy-Vee or Osco Jew Drugs. Sometimes I'll go over to Fairway.
Hmm.
But it was the Osco manager I talked to yesterday told me no, they're still getting partial orders because the vendors are out.
Right.
And when you look online for like toilet paper, everybody's out. Everybody.
I look at it this way, Bill. I think that there's a lot of deception going on here.
Yeah, I
I don't
do.
know.
I think the accept. I mean, we're being lied to so hard right now. It isn't funny. But I did call.
I don't know with the internet if they can keep a lid on every. You can't explain to me. I think there's going to be regions of the country that rebel against this. I think we're going to see it happening regionally. It's not going to happen nationally, but it's going to happen regionally,
Yeah.
maybe within the state. Like
Well,
I
I
could see.
never saw it on the media. Montygraph talks about because he lives in Denver, right? I never seen it advertised in the media, but after the governor of Colorado shut down liquor stores and marijuana shops, thousands of people hit the frickin' streets in Denver and were rioting, and the governor got back up 4 hours later and reversed it and left the liquor
Yeah,
stores and
that's all that needs to happen. It's like when I fought that sewer project, Bill, all it would have had to take is about half the people to say, we don't want your fucking sewer. We're fine. And we could have stopped it, but nobody was willing to stand up. And it's Bill, I don't know what else to say. I've tried how, you have to get people in large numbers to fight, and that can change things. That's a big game changer.
yes, now that I totally agree with. If you could get large numbers of people angry enough that we all went out screaming and rioting and fighting back, you could turn this thing back around.
You could, but like I said, I mean, this is well, good luck on them passing the. I tell you what, there's something good's going to come out of this. They're never going to pass the school levy now with unemployed people. You think they're going to pay an extra $1,000 a year in their taxes now with that school levy? No way.
Oh yeah, now that I totally agree with you with. I think this is going to go longer than people think because when you look into Zoom, Zoom was originally built for corporations and businesses. They
Yeah,
only took Zoom and branched off and gave people a free version of Zoom and a paid version like Steve and I have. But if you go over to a business version, it's very expensive to have Zoom. You have to pay per license.
yeah,
Okay. And the school system is using Zoom.
right.
Okay. So, Zoom is a professional platform. So
Yeah,
it's not like, oh,
yeah,
I can't trust it because it's new. No, it was built for corporations and businesses.
yeah,
It's not new. It's been out here. It's just that people ain't used to using it. And it is a good program. Steve's finally got his channel worked out where and he's doing his live right there with his face and himself on video. I could technically go back to doing that myself. It wouldn't be hard to do.
yeah,
Okay, it's not
yeah.
hard at all to do. I could go back to that myself.
Well, somebody tried to masquerade as you the other day, and I almost let him in. And I looked and said, "Oh my God, who is this?" And they had your name. Did you get that screenshot I gave you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
No, that wasn't me. See, this is just it. We got trolls. I don't know why, Steve, they've targeted you for sure the way they have. Okay, but they targeted you hard, but it seems like you're getting more control over stopping them now because you got them in your contacts list. You know who they are, and this is who you're bringing into your show. You're not
yeah,
passing out the information to the public. And so now they're getting desperate and trying to trick you.
yeah, right.
That's really, I don't know why they're that determined to attack Steve. It's just unreal how they want to keep attacking Steve.
Yeah,
But you got pretty good control of it now. I just wish you'd do them
yeah,
a little earlier so I could join you.
yeah. I'll tell you what. That I know you first is a little radical, but I like that guy. He's got a very fresh perspective on TFL.
Well, I hear that and I'm listening. I've been listening to him. I don't know why he dislikes me. Maybe if I was in a show with you and him, he would get a different aspect of me and not dislike me. I don't know. Okay.
Well, what
I
makes you think he dislikes you?
Well, what he said in that one live stream of yours when you thought it was me, when somebody tried that once before, he clearly didn't want me in the show. The other time I came into your show, that one time only that I came into your show that first was in, and right after I come into your show, first left your show.
Okay.
Okay, so them two things makes me think that. Okay, now first could prove me wrong. I got nothing against first personally. You understand what I'm saying? But the problem I have is if I don't keep every Saturday night when I do the live stream, I throw myself off and I suffer for it the next day because I've got to be out of bed by 6 a.m. regardless to get something to eat, to get my meds because I have to do them twice a day, right? The change of meds that I've been given by this heart doctor down here, where I had chest pain off and on every damn freaking other day easily for 5 years straight, my chest pain has disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay. So I keep myself on these meds at a scheduled time because I have to do them twice a day. So we do it, when I do Saturday night, it always messes me up. You come on late enough that it would mess me up every single time.
Yeah, that's all right. Don't worry about it, Bill. Like Bill, sometimes like eh, I will get you in earlier sometime. I will get on here earlier, but it has nothing to do with keeping you out of the show. It's just it's a good group of people I have on the show, and I think that right now I can't afford to let the wrong person get on that show at this point. So you're not one of them, but there are some people that are trying to get in to mess up my show, and I don't want to let that happen.
Oh well, it won't happen as long as if somebody sends you a friends request out of nowhere and you don't know them, don't let them on your show until after you've actually physically talked to them a couple of times on Zoom. Get
Right.
to know them a little bit and make sure, because if it's a troll, they're not going to want to do that. And you ain't out
Yeah.
nothing by losing a troll. Okay, so that way, at least when you do bring people in, it's going to be like it is now. You're not going to have to worry about it. You're going to have a good group of people in there, and then
Right.
that's what you need to have is a good group of people, and keep the trolls at a distance and let them do their thing. But you don't need to deal with them. And right now, with everything that's going on in society, I think people need to really keep their eyes open. But that link I did share with you yesterday is something I think people need to see, because the real truth was put in your face when it comes to this corona thing. It really was. That's very deep, and it's actual factual stuff that can all be backed.
Yeah, TFL is going to increase massively because you're going to have a lot of guys that maybe do get some action on the side, or Corona is going to TFL. Maybe it's going to amp up TFL if
I
anything.
think corona is going to cause maybe even women eventually to start living TFL themselves, and I got nothing against that. I think it'd be good for them to
Yeah, it
taste what
needs
they
to
dish.
happen. Yeah.
Okay, and I see corona go. I see this going to a part where, think about it: no bars open, no clubs open, no restaurants open. Okay, this is going to make it really hard on women.
Yeah.
And if they're locked at home too and they got their boyfriend and they can't go be out with them at night because of a curfew, and because I could eventually see them enforcing restrictions on you where if you're caught out at night, even Hayden read an article on that, okay, where it's punishable by a $5,000 fine up to 6 months in jail or both.
Yeah.
Okay, and they start enforcing this stuff on people. And then during the summertime, oh my God. You think about people that don't even have AC being told to stay in their home all day,
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of anger.
It's all fucking lies. I wish people could break out of this and say, fuck it. We all want to get it. Let us just fucking get it, okay? Let us take the chance. That would be the best rebellion is, okay, let it kill us. Go ahead. Just let it do it. You
Yeah,
know?
they
Fuck it.
get.
Just let it, just kill us then. Then kill us then.
I agree because if you said, fine, we're not afraid to die of corona, we'll all die of corona, you hit the streets, suddenly after a month goes by, you find nobody's dying of corona. Oops, their lie fell right on his face.
We've got to break this cycle of mind control. We've got to break this cycle of mind control. This coronavirus is the perfect enemy. You cannot see it, you cannot touch it, it's invisible. It lurks everywhere, and it's worse than blaming it on like Goldstein in the movie or Osama bin Laden, who's only one person, because the corona's got networks in every little crevice of every city in the country. You know,
Oh yeah, it's like Casper the ghost has a brother who's evil, huh?
well, it's crazy because Corona now is everywhere. It's in small town America, just like Osama bin Laden. They couldn't even say that he's in small town America. They're just making our lives fucking miserable, and it's totally. And I understand the Russians are flooding the market with oil. This is a power play. There's no doubt that they're trying to crash the economy.
Oh, they are. They are. You know, I do believe it'll be the catalyst for World War III, and I can't say how and how long. I don't think it's not something we're going to see like this year or next year, but I think it will be the catalyst that leads to it.
No, Bill, I disagree. It's going to happen fast. I think if there's going to be a bombs flying within the nations, it's going to happen within the next year or two or less.
Well, now you could be right. I think a little longer, yeah, you think a little sooner, but I think we're on the same page there. I mean, I see it going that direction.
Yeah.
Simon Parks even suggested already, he made the statement that China is already pointing their fingers at America and blaming them for this. And that came from Simon Parks. And I was like, yeah, I've been waiting for somebody to say that. Uh huh. The catalyst to
Yeah.
World War III is right in your face.
This one Hell by the Dashboard Light thinks there's going to be an exodus to from cities to rural areas. Poor rural people have to put up with a bunch of asshole city slickers coming in their neighborhoods.
That would be part of Agenda 21. The original plan with Agenda 21 was to take the rural areas and move them into the cities.
Well, no, he's saying in reverse. The cities would move to the rural areas.
Oh, okay, in reverse. Well, that'd be against Agenda 21. That would actually be, oh my God, the rural areas would freak out. We can't have this. A small town suddenly gets overpopulated. Hey, that'd be a
Yeah,
good thing because then construction would have to happen. They'd have to build more homes, right?
yeah. There'd be more TFL problems too. Guys would be in search for to plant their dicks.
Well, okay, you got a point. I'm sure they already have TFL in their area, and maybe they'll think at first, oh, well, more people here, more of a chance. Then they'll find out, nope, it's just the same as it always was. Still ain't got a chance in
Yeah,
hell.
it'll be the well. Penises always migrate first, so that's just the way it works.
Well, when you got all these guys that are alone, it's not hard for them to change locations, is it?
Yeah.
It ain't like they're trying to upload their wife and their kids because they don't have that. They just take their stuff and go, relocate it.
SBO keeps asking. SBO's obsessed with selling his house. SBO, why are you trying to sell your house at a time where no one's gonna fucking buy it?
There's no money, boy. Fucking so many people are out of work. They ain't got no money. How are they going to buy it?
All these I'm so sick of these Californians. Californians are the biggest piece of shit people. They're the ones that move to these areas like Idaho and Montana and buy up the fucking land and just this shit's got to stop. These mass migrations have got to fucking stop. People need to better their own fucking area. I hate people from California. I can't stand these fucking assholes, these white yuppies.
Oh, they're floating into your state too, ain't they?
No, but no, they're not floating here. Cleveland is dropped in population. I love my area of Cleveland. I like the fact that we've got less of a population. We still got our own community and structure, even though it sucks in the winter. I'd still rather stay here than any other place. We don't have a tax on groceries. We do have a local income tax, but I mean things are still more manageable in a smaller town like this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can understand that because where I'm at is a lot like where you're at. Okay. My hometown here in Iowa is a lot like you where you're at when it comes to that.
These people are idiots. These people that want to follow the masses and these Californians are. This started before Corona, though. Years, a few last few years, that all these transplants from California, New York, want to move to Oregon and flood these fucking towns. I wish these fucking assholes would get the hell out.
Oh
I
yeah,
I
well
can't.
well I did hear first say something. I started listening to your live stream
They
and
started
first,
changing the zoning
yeah.
laws in Portland. Like Alex Ansary did the best coverage on it. He says they started changing zoning laws where they were forcing poor people out of their homes by saying you have to do $100,000 in upgrades to live here. Corruption off the Richter scale. The only good thing I could see from Corona, if it's possible, we could end the. It may end. See, Bill, a police state would do one good thing. It would end this type of fucking political corruption immediately. It may come to a fucking end because then people would not be able to just buy up huge tracts of land and say fuck you. So I don't want to see us go into a police state. There could be some good ramifications of it, but who knows? I'm not, I'm not optimistic it would be good.
No, I know what you're saying. I don't think it'd be a good thing at all personally. And when it comes to, like yesterday, first had mentioned about the job market here in America is completely flooded. Okay. He thinks it's from overpopulation here in America. I disagree with that part only for this reason. Over the last 12 years, a lot more than GE has closed their doors. There's companies all over this country who has closed their doors they didn't tell you about and all moved overseas. Okay. So our jobs have been outsourced. Look at all your products. How many products do you see made in China, made in China, made in
Almost
Japan?
everything. Almost everything.
Exactly. Now, if we were to start 100% manufacturing our own goods again like we used to, okay, we wouldn't have a saturation in the job market no more. That's been engineered. And people, and I can't blame young guys because they wouldn't know. Okay, they wasn't around. Steve, you and I have more of a life experience than a lot of the guys that come into TFL. We have
20
a
years of a country in lockdown in 20 years will seem normal for most people, young guys in their 20s
Oh
or teens.
yes, yes. This is like social engineering through fear porn because they get you locked down, they force you, force you, force you, and become pretty soon it becomes normal. And then you get less fighting and people willingly go along. But with that, you also give up all of your rights. So I would be
I
more
don't.
for people fighting back than
Yeah.
just giving up your rights.
We have to pray that some local region will rebel against this. I don't know if it's going to happen. I would hope in my county it would happen, where people would say we got to open the restaurants because for our area, I'm not saying that we're any different, but restaurants and blue collar jobs kind of go hand in hand. People want to go out to eat and drink their beer, and this is not a normal thing for people who have good jobs who or might be they don't want to deal with this crap anymore. They're tired of this, and I'm very sad about it because I don't like to see anybody suffer.
I'm with you on that, Steve. I'm with you on that. And I don't know what we're going to do about this. I don't know if we'll do anything about it at all.
I agree.
But until we see them saying on your media, mainstream media, until they start making reports that no more cases have been found, it's not going away. And so far, every day, because even Nick over in Germany tells me, well, we're going to be reopening our restaurants and our smaller businesses in the middle of April. And I says to Nick, so are you having reports that no more coronas being found? And he says, I don't know. And then we called me and he started looking. He screen shared on his phone and he started looking and he found report after report from his own local country of more cases of corona, more cases of corona. And I says, well, then never mind. It won't be opening up in the middle of April because the cases are still going up. I mean, that's one way you can know that roughly when this is going to, you're closing to the end of this, is the reports will say, the mainstream reports will start saying, We don't got no more cases. Less cases are being reported. Okay.
Yeah, they're making this like crisis. It's a fake crisis. That guy, that Andrew Cuomo, or that brother of Cuomo, that Chris Cuomo. I don't believe he's got corona. I think it's all a big fucking act. That's all it is a big fucking Hollywood act.
I agree. I totally agree.
His brother, now he's giving his brother free reign to lock down everything with New York and make it a police state.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly what I think. I do believe that's what this is about. It's a big power grab. Okay, and then they'll
Mhm.
swallow up all the small businesses when done. Because think about the restaurant owners and the bar owners. This is how they made their living. You took their
Mhm.
living away from them. If you keep their living away from them for enough months, they won't be able to recover to reopen it because they'll
Mhm.
be living on their savings and stuff. Oh, okay, they're going to get help from the government. Yeah, for 2 months. What's that going to do if this goes on for a year?
Yeah, Prince Charles has it. I highly doubt. First of all, if Prince Charles had this real virus, if it was real, he would never tell the fucking world, you know?
Yeah, correct. I don't buy that Prince Charles has it, okay? I don't think anybody has it but actors, liars.
Mhm. Yeah.
And the deaths, I don't buy it. No. All the deaths they're reporting, no, I don't buy that at all.
Hmm.
Okay, I think it's normal deaths that we're seeing that happen every day, that they're changing the results that they died from. That's all that's going on.
Oh,
You sure can't
the
meet anybody.
local radio is about the best thing to have because local talk radio is good because you can, no matter how much the talk show hosts try to squeeze out the conspiracy end, there's too many people calling in and complaining.
Yeah. Well, I think that's good that you got people calling in your local radio and complaining. And I hope that keeps going on, because the facts are the facts. This is fraud. This is fraudulent right at the very top. And everybody's on board. When you have stuff like that Tony Fauci guy standing next to Trump every day in 2017 on video, telling you this before Trump was even in office, okay? Telling you this on video and then it happens. But you can't get nobody to investigate it. How did he know that?
Hmm.
You can't even get a hold of the Federal Bureau of Investigation in this state. It all goes to the Fusion Center. Every
Hmm.
last bit of it goes to the Fusion Center, and then they send you right back down to your local cops. And nobody's willing to look into it. Right there's a big red flag. That's sort of like 9/11. Let's stop the investigation.
Hmm.
It is. But hey, Steve, I've been up here almost 3 hours now. I didn't know it was going to be that long.
Okay, well, I better let you go then.
Yep, so I'm going to jump on out of here, guys. And Steve, thanks.
Okay, thanks. Take it easy.
Yep, bye bye, guys.